Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy.
You were born with that, Nick.
I am starting this damn show.
It's a B, not an M. Sibian.
Sibian.
Did you just Google a sex toy?
Well, incognito.
In your own house? Incognito in your
While we're broadcasting.
Like, sometimes I'll do shit incognito. Like, anyone else in the fucking world uses this computer, and it fucking matters.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm starting this show now, by the way. Welcome to 4Player Podcast, everybody. This is episode 644. It is May 28th? I don't have my damn calendar pulled up.
Yes.
Right. Sweet, I guessed it correctly. May 28th, 2020. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Yes, it's me.
Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
And Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
We have got a good show lined up tonight. Not a ton of news to discuss, but we've got lots of games to talk about. We're going to talk about Maneater. We're going to talk about Civilization 6, Monster Train, and Deep Rock Galactic. So got plenty to talk about there. Before we get too far, a couple bits of housekeeping. Next week, we're going to be recording in place of our regular show. So next Thursday night, we're going to be recording a dual spoiler cast. We've been wanting to do these spoiler casts for a while. David's going to be joining us to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then we're going to do a spoiler cast for Half-Life Alyx, both games which we've played in the past couple months here. We're going to delve into the subject matter, the stuff that we couldn't really talk about with any sort of specifics on the actual show for fear of spoilers. So if you've played either of those games or you're not planning on playing, you just want to know what the hell's going on there, tune in next week. We'll be taking a deep dive into both those games. Also, want to invite you to join us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. There's a lot going on there every day, especially if you're still in lockdown and quarantine. You don't have a lot of human interaction. It's a great place to be, especially if you like talking about video games.
Hey, let me ask you something, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
The spoiler cast next week?
Yes.
So,
yes, you have to have finished the game.
Remake today, and I just got finished with the last bike sequence and boss, and I'm about to progress.
Yes,
it's like another point of no return, but it more like a story point of no return. I think someone said the point of no return.
Yes,
obviously I'm not going to spoil anything. That's literally where I'm saved.
Right.
How much longer?
That's like you're about to step into the last
an hour.
But that hour is mainly comprised of a long fight and then a bunch of story cutscenes and stuff.
Okay. In which case, I might stream that after this podcast. That's why.
Cool. Just finish it, please. Please finish it before next week. That's all I ask.
For the love of God.
I also want to quickly mention the Revival Club. We are coming up on the end of the game we were playing in June. We're playing Okami. I'm getting fairly close to the end. I have basically one more major act of the game to go, and I'll be finished. And I'm going to be recording the Revival Club episode for that, along with David and community guest Kenton. I think not this weekend, but the next weekend. So probably, I think it's the weekend of June 8th. One of those days. We haven't set the date in stone yet, but I'll be sure to let everybody know when we have it finalized. We'll be going into that, and I'm going to be opening up the nominations for the voting for the next game in the series on the 1st of June. So if you're a supporter on Patreon at the $3 tier or higher, or a subscriber on Twitch, you'll be able to vote. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But without further ado, let's get into it. I have a little bit of feedback from our last episode. Not a ton, but here we go. Our first comment tonight comes from Necro Techno. He said, "This comment is a week late, but this is some insider knowledge, by the way, maybe." It says, "But the upcoming Harry Potter game that was brought up in the last episode, along with doubts of its existence, I happen to have a relative who until recently worked for Bloomsbury, the publisher of the Harry Potter books, and I wanted to let you know that the project is absolutely real and in a semi-playable state." He is claiming to have insider knowledge that the Harry Potter game exists.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily a spoiler that it exists.
Yeah, I think it came up when we were.
It's not like, oh, it's a surprise. I mean, we've all kind of known.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Batman game that we all know exists, but they haven't said anything about it yet. But it came up when we were discussing. They were doing that event where they were announcing games. I don't remember. It was the most recent one. We were talking about it, and everybody was kind of expecting big announcements like the Batman game, like maybe the Harry Potter. People were dropping the name Elden Ring all over the place. Like, come on, control yourselves. And of course, it didn't happen then. So that's where the quote unquote doubts of its existence came from. But he's claiming to have knowledge that it does exist and that it is in a semi-playable state. So that's not official, but I'm happy to take any bits of news on that game as I can possibly get. I'm really scared we're gonna finally see that game, and it's gonna be not at all what I'm like picturing in my head, and it's gonna be not good. But we'll see. And our last comment tonight comes from Slopdog. He says, "I was so fascinated when you guys were talking about the tour mode of Assassin's Creed Origins. I had no idea about that feature, and definitely makes me want way more interested in playing the game. More games should look into providing similar features like this. I love me some history, and the medium is perfect for it. Also, I feel the same as Nick towards cringe videos. I don't like watching them. It just makes me feel sad." First of all,
it should make you feel happy because you are not them.
Our brains process this information way differently.
Your life is so much better because you're not in their situation.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You could be up on that stage doing bad stand-up.
You could be a rapper live on the news, asked to do a free flow, and you can't.
No!
Years ago, they tried to put me in. Years ago. Oh, man.
I don't even... This is a real thing y'all are quoting? I'm assuming
Years ago, they tried to put me in the...
You can see it in his eyes when he's lost the thread,
and he's like, "Oh no!"
And he's just languishing. Like you can see it. Oh god!
They
had a camera right on his face.
I have seen it. Just play it right now, Christy.
I've watched
producer.
I've watched it at Nick's house. Or not Nick's. Back when we used to do the podcast at Brad's, I've watched it at your house at least 3 or 4 times. So I'm sure.
Malia gets mad at me. She gets so mad at me. Like when I'm watching that video and I'm showing it to her, she's like, "That's so mean."
Do you just watch it all the time?
No, well,
I don't want people to be embarrassed. I don't want people to feel like I just think about how bad I would feel and what I would like, how I would crawl under a rock, and I empathize, man. I empathize too much. I don't know. It's hard to watch. Whew.
She attacks me when I play the meow.
What is that?
Oh, the guy.
I still love you.
I still love you.
Yep. Dude, that's a classic.
Okay, well, I don't know if that's so much cringe. I mean, that's less cringe. I've watched that and found that to be rather funny myself.
That's cringe, dude. Your reaction is cringe.
That's probably That's probably true. I apologize.
Now I'm just thinking about that.
Stop it. Okay. No more cringe talk. Brad, have you played any more Assassin's Creed Origins tour mode or whatever it's called?
No, I have not.
Is it safe to assume that's pretty much just done?
No. It's just, it's this dumb fucking podcast I'm on. I always got to try new shit, So
Monster Train. It's all about Monster Train now.
This week,
definitely do not have to try new shit.
Brad, how many weeks has Nolan talked about Animal Crossing this year? How many fucking episodes?
Well, I mean, I've still been playing some Animal Crossing. I paid off I didn't pay it off, but I got my basement, so.
Nice.
It's so funny, too. Malia doesn't have hers. She's played so much. She's caught so many fucking fish. Just got lucky on the turnip market.
Yep.
Robin basically told me today that she won't let herself. She keeps thinking about buying Animal Crossing, but she knows if she does, I'll never see my Switch again. It'll just be something that she uses
I don't think that's true. I think it's a situation where it maybe for the first week, but then after that it just becomes this kind of, I'm going to do a few things today, and I'm going to do a few things today.
Well, here's the thing. The way Robin watches television is she puts something on, and then she uses her phone for the entire time she's watching, and she's usually playing like something like Candy Crush or whatever the entire time. So it would just become Animal Crossing. I feel like.
Well, you gotta get it to find out.
That's true. I was thinking today, I would buy another Switch in a heartbeat if they had added Bluetooth capability, so you can use like wireless headphones.
It's
like,
pretty dumb that they didn't.
In a heartbeat, and then I would just let her use my old one to play Animal Crossing.
It's Nintendo trying to save $6 a console is what it is.
I know. It's dumb. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's move on. If you have anything you want to contribute or chime in on after our discussions tonight, just head over to 4playernetwork.com, leave us a comment on the post for this episode, and we'll read it next week. Now, I guess we're going to talk about Maneater first.
Woo!
We've been building up to this. Chris Davis has been super excited about this game.
I have been.
Years.
Music, play the song.
He's been eating so much tuna.
Wait, which song am I
There's a
playing?
song?
Am I playing Maneater or am I playing Baby Shark?
Baby shark, do 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 do.
Yeah,
That's
Crispy, we'll get muted.
Yeah, we will.
Ah, that's why I only did like 2 bars.
Henry has a Baby Shark app, and it just plays the Baby Shark
What?
song in like 100 different languages, and he loves it.
How do you feel about it, though?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Hold on, which language is the best?
American, duh.
Wow.
Jesus, Brad.
Wow.
I just didn't know if there was one that it's like, oh, I like their phrase for Baby Shark better
Baby
than
Shark sounds
ours.
great in Hungarian.
I was just
Yeah,
about to
sounds-
say Hungarian.
Let's talk about Maneater for a second. Chris Davis, you beat this game.
Yeah, I beat it the other night.
I'm only about 3 hours into it, so we're on opposite ends of this experience here.
Well, this
you
footage should
clearly-
reflect about where you are in the game right now.
Wonderful. So, perhaps
Oh,
you
spoil.
know more about the game at this point, so perhaps you should lead this discussion. My experience, I have only played about 3 hours of it, and I pinged you in Discord last night because, first of all, I was kind of on the fence at first as to whether this game was going to stick with me. And then last night it kind of clicked. I started enjoying it a lot more, and I was like, okay, I meant to play for like an hour last night. I played for 2
Why
and a half.
did you say it clicked? Why didn't you say like it sunk in?
Sunk
or
its teeth
like
into me?
it sunk its teeth into me
Yeah.
or something. Come on, Nick.
I don't know.
Gold.
I don't know, because I'm a terrible podcast host. How about that?
All right. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's take a step back real quick.
Okay.
What the fuck is this game, Chris Davis? Like,
So-
explain to me the premise of this game. Like, I really don't know. All I know is like what I'm seeing is like.
And I
shark.
challenge you, Chris Davis, to do this without using the what do you call it, the term they love using to describe
The
it.
Shark RPG? The Shark PG?
Well, you just failed.
He loves it.
I was just confirming your question. I will not use that term in my description.
The Ubisoftification of shark games.
It's too late. I was hoping to not have to mention that term at all in the podcast.
Wait, what term?
Too bad. This game is so full of fucking puns. It's not even. Oh my god.
It is.
How long did
So-
it take you to finish the game?
Ah,
Reach the fin.
because it takes place in Finland.
15-ish hours. Yeah. So, Maneater is a open world RPG game where you play as a shark growing from a baby shark into an adult. The idea of the premise is that the entire thing is a reality show akin to Deadliest Catch, but about shark hunting, called Maneater.
Yeah, so there's just like every time you do something or you uncover something, or you meet some kind of like new enemy or fish or something, this like narrator chimes in.
Yeah, Chris
How
Parnell.
are
from
they?
the,
How are,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say how are the cameras following the shark?
I
What kind
mean,
of technology is this?
they
Drone.
They
You are already
say drone
thinking-
technology. They
You are
specifically say
already
that.
thinking about this too hard.
I think what's more appalling is that this crew of TV documentarians was like watching the shark murder people.
That's
Well,
true.
they actually comment on that. So
I will say this, like it's kind of so the game found like I said, it kind of sunk its teeth into me the other night,
Uh-huh.
and the charm kind of hit me.
Like that.
The charm kind of hit me, right? I had the exact same questions that you all have. Like, why are these people filming this? Who is this narrator? Why is he talking like this?
I need to find some notes. I need to read some notes.
Sharks can't read, Brad.
Or write. They don't have fingers. They can't use pens.
But yeah,
So
that's the entire premise of this game. It's a documentary reality crew following shark hunters while at the same time
So-
following the growth of the shark.
Okay, so hold on. So take a step back.
Okay.
Like, shark, you start as a baby, you swim around, you eat things, you get bigger.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Are there like goals?
So you
Yes.
level up. You level up by eating fish and find it. So here's the weird thing. Like first of all, the world itself it's open. You can go pretty much anywhere you want. There's certain things. It's kind of like a Metroidvania in that you have to age the shark usually to a certain point in its life before it can go certain places by like busting through walls and stuff that leads to bigger open areas.
Yeah.
So when you start the game, you're in this like bayou, and it's very like shallow waters. You're a small shark. Most of the you're in like the coastal bayou, so like it opens up
Okay.
into the ocean. But like
I
you
was just
start
gonna
out.
say that bayous are generally freshwater, and sharks can't survive in freshwater very well.
They
but-
talk about that.
So yeah, it's like it's funny. Like, half the time, the narrator like comments on stuff. He makes some weird joke that doesn't quite hit. Other times, he's like being actually informative and kind of teaching you things about certain fish and sharks, but in kind of like a jokey kind of way. And like half.
Wait a minute, you're learning?
Yes. So I mean, the whole aside from just aging the shark and like growing from a baby to an adult, you're also evolving the shark.
Mhm.
So the shark levels up, and as you gain experience, you unlock evolutions that you can plug into the shark. Like, but the reason I had messaged Chris Davis last night is because I've played this game for about 3 hours. Fairly early on, the first thing they give you is sonar, right? I was like, oh, cool. So I equipped the sonar thing, and you can kind of upgrade it as you eat fish and gain experience and stuff. I was like, this is kind of neat. And then I got 3 hours into it, and I was like, I'm still rolling around with just the sonar. And I don't know if I'm missing something. It turns out I'm not. I just spent... So you know those open world games that just like give you a map and they just throw all these icons all over it?
Mhm.
This game is also that. And I have an obsessive compulsive personality when it comes to those kinds of things. So I'm swimming all over this map trying to find all these like question marks that like you'll swim up to something and it's like, oh, what's this? And like you'll trigger this like thing where the narrator talks about this, like it'll be like a boat that's sunk, and it's like there's two skeletons in the boat, and it's like, oh, these two lovebirds forgot to get out of their boat when it sank. How dumb. You know, it's weird shit like that, but it gives you all kinds of experience, which you really need to like level up your shark. But none
Also,
of that
did you
actually
just
goes
pick up a chest.
Yes, there's chests
Is
everywhere.
there, is there a currency system in this game?
Kind of. Actually,
Is the money Gil?
No, it's really it's
it's
really
protein
just like,
and stuff.
yeah, it's proteins. And it all goes, and this is, again, I've played for 3 hours. I'm still rolling around with one of these evolutionary things, and I'm sitting here waiting. I was like, when the fuck am I going to unlock the next thing?
They probably tried to stretch it out because Shark PG should be longer than they actually managed to.
Yeah. So a
fill
lot of
game
the
with.
evolutions are they're unlocked primarily just by completing sets of objectives versus just actually just growing necessarily. Like for every bounty hunter that appears in the game, if you eat them, you get a new evolution that you can apply.
And that, you know what? I've been avoiding the bounty hunters.
You definitely want to avoid them at the beginning.
They
of the game.
they start shooting at me, and I'm like, I don't want to get shot, so I leave.
Are
But
any of the
that's my problem.
evolutions? Are any of the evolutions like legs and camo pants and like big beefy arms?
I see where you're going with this.
Well, there is one ability called amphibious in which you can survive on land, like I'm doing right now, a lot longer.
Can you swim in the streets?
Kind of.
I
so
hate
so,
you,
so
Nolan.
here's the
I
thing
hate
about
you.
this: the gameplay is really, it's very simple, but it's actually very fun.
Okay, here's one thing I'm not disagreeing with you, because, like I said, it got its hooks in me the other day, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. I'm enjoying myself.
That works.
I'm enjoying myself. The problem is, I don't like the act of eating things in this game. The way you eat things, like that you chomp, is you just rapidly tap the right trigger to like constantly like just bite down on stuff, and it gets old real fast because you have to eat so much shit to level up. Like, my biggest complaint so far is how long it takes you to level up your shark. Like, it's a charming game. I like the world. I like the concept. But man, I don't think I want to spend 40 hours playing this game.
It's not 40 hours long.
I know it's not. I know, but it feels like it's gonna be because of how long. I played for like an hour last night and leveled up once.
Honestly, this is like a neat idea, but it was probably a 5-hour game turned into a 15-hour game for the sake of, selling copies.
I mean, I disagree. I think that the 15-hour average length that people are getting, I think that's just the right about length. Yeah, that is for 100%.
I think that sounds like a perfect length for a game like this. There's a few things, but that I think
what you've been saying sounds on the contrary.
Well, no, I mean, like, it's mostly that I know now that it's like a 15-hour game because Chris Davis told me it was. Before he told me that, I was worried because I was sitting here thinking like, I see all these things that I can't access yet because I have to be an adult or even an elder shark to do it. But I'm like, when the fuck am I gonna become? I'm still a teen shark. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sitting here eating everything in sight and getting like the tiniest sliver of experience. You can see the bar slowly filling up, and it's like the tiniest fucking sliver. And it's an RPG, but like it's not like a JRPG where you have all these attacks and stuff. You're literally going around just eating things. So like the attacks, the way you interact with enemies is, from my experience so far, is largely the same. I'm really eager to like unlock more evolutions. I've seen screenshots from the later parts of the game where the shark looks fucking wild.
Yeah.
Like, so what I was going to ask is, are you always this shark? Are there other types of sharks?
I mean, there are other sharks in the game, other species.
But you play as this one. Yeah, the whole game is the journey from. So at the very beginning of the game, this shark's mother is caught by one of the hunters, and they pull the shark onto the boat, and then the hunter like cuts open the shark, and he's like, "Oh, it's pregnant," and like pulls out you're a baby shark.
Yeah.
And then you start flopping around, and then he lets go, and you make it into the water, and that's you. And you're like on a mission to like find this hunter, I guess, and get revenge for killing.
He doesn't let go. You bite his arm off, right?
Yeah,
that's right. You bite his arm off. I forgot about that. Thank you.
You're a big baby shark.
And
that's another kind of cool.
Like, run away, run away.
But that's kind of a cool thing about the game with the growth and progression of the shark is that you actually get to witness the shark growing. So every time you level up, he like grows bigger. So you start out as like maybe a meter long baby shark to start. By the end of the game, when you hit level cap, you're fucking 9 meters long. And
I feel like you're like a megalodon by the end of it.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. What kind of baby shark is a fucking meter long?
Remember, Nolan, this is fictional.
Fictional video games, man.
It's a fictional shark.
It's also a bull shark. I don't know. We're no shark experts here.
They do specify that it is a bull shark, first of all. So I don't know if this is scientifically accurate, but you are playing as a bull shark. So if you want to look up how large baby bull sharks are,
on it.
I knew you would be.
But again,
I'm pretty sure it's not a meter though.
It's really cool just how
it can be up to 2.6 feet or 81 centimeters at birth.
So just shy of a meter, right? Or I guess by like a foot.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Whatever. Either way, just like the growth and progression of the shark is actually pretty cool to.
It is cool watching him change and grow. And
like early on in the game, the biggest.
I don't know why I had to do that math. It said 80 centimeters. So I mean, yeah, being 0.8 meters, I guess is the math there. So yeah, just shy.
So yeah, the earliest predators that you have to avoid are like alligators in the swamp, but like when you come back to that after hitting like level 15, they're just so such small enemies to deal with.
Is level 15 the cap?
No, level 30 is the cap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I'm just using that as an example because at that point,
I saw some
like
punk ass level 15 alligator roaming around, and I was like, I'm not going to mess with that, and it's going to take me a year to get to that point.
But again, like I was saying earlier, like the gameplay loop in this, just the constant swimming around and just how much they lean into like the physics of the shark and the animation they do, it just makes it so much fun. The fucking
swimming
shark,
as the shark feels really good.
The fucking shark has not only a double jump, it has a triple jump. That's fucking wonderful.
If you stop moving, do you die?
Yes.
I mean, you will suffocate on land. Yeah, eventually. Eventually.
No, in the water.
Stop swimming.
Sorry. So here's the thing. I haven't tested this theory. I stopped swimming because someone texted me and I didn't pause it. And the narrator, after a few minutes, started saying, sharks have to swim continuously to stay alive. But I never but then I started controlling it again. So I don't know if I had left it like that, if you would actually started dying. Maybe I should test that theory.
You won't die.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling. But I will say this: the world's pretty interesting. Like funny shit that you're finding, and like some of the crazier stuff in the world, even in the early parts of the level, is just genuinely, just visually interesting. So it kind of makes it fun to explore. And the narrator, while he doesn't nail every joke he sets out to make, it's kind of fun to kind of seek out all these things and find them. It's interesting. But there's also like hidden underground caverns you can find, which is cool.
Is this the journey to the savage planet of the summer?
Maybe. I mean, first of all, I guess the question is,
I noticed people playing and going, oh, it's pretty fun, I guess, Not going to be on my top 10, but it's pretty fun. Which I feel like is what a lot of people were saying about Journey to the Savage Planet.
Here's the thing.
About 15 hours.
This very well could be a very equivalent experience to Journey to the Savage Planet. It's too early to tell. I don't know, I might like this more than Journey to the Savage Planet, just based on the experience I had last night, which I was really starting to enjoy. But then again, I've just forgotten. I know I was enjoying Journey to the Savage. I finished Journey to the Savage Planet, but yeah, it's the same kind of 15-esque hour experience that it probably ends right around the time you're starting to get tired of it.
Can you eat whales?
Yes.
When you get big enough.
Yes. That's such a the combat loop and just what you do in this game. There's a lot of repetition. I will not lie about it. There is a lot of fucking repetition.
Lots of chomping.
Well, I mean, you're a shark. You only have one attack, Nick.
I'm
sorry. You have two attacks. You have the bite and you got the tail whip, which if you use the tail whip strategically, that's actually kind of fun. Because
it's difficult to use strategically.
Well, once you unlock the ability to do the tail whip, what's kind of cool is that sometimes when you're attacking bounty hunters, they'll toss dynamite into the water trying to get you. So what you can do is you can grab the dynamite in your mouth, target the ship, and then do a tail whip attack, and it launches the dynamite back at the ship and explodes.
Nolan, clearly, as you can see, based on real life.
Clearly, yes. Also, how a shark is, jumping across a golf course to get into a water trap, a water hazard.
The world is fun, okay? The world is fun and to explore, but at the end of the day, from what I can tell, it's largely swimming around, eating things, and trying to find all these points of interest on a map to get experience to level up your shark and watch him evolve and grow. It's a cool loop. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm going to finish it. That's pretty much all I can say right now. Chris Davis seems to have enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. I think once the map starts really open up later in the game and you get to explore a lot more, I think just that's where the best part of the game comes through.
I want to find some more of these evolutions. So.
Oh yeah, oh my god, the evolutions are so fucking cool.
There's definitely a lot of when you go to the menu, there's all kinds of slots to plug in evolutions. I just don't have any of them yet.
Oh, and also right here in this area, right here in the footage with the caves, they do such a good job of color, direction, and exploring.
That is a good point. That is definitely a good point because there's a lot of times you'll be swimming into a cavern and you're kind of it's you're going down and sometimes you get cool. Yeah, they're really cool and sometimes it's easy to like get turned around and not remember how to get back to where you were going.
Yeah.
But they use color in their design to like highlight paths.
I like a good
in really
underwater
natural
cave.
ways. Yeah, it's cool, man.
They are very pretty down there.
It's very cool.
Well, I mean, it's no Subnautica, but
It's not
it's
Subnautica.
pretty cool.
It's not Subnautica, but also totally different kind of game.
Yeah.
Hold up, man.
Like-
Subnautica is a hell of a game, though, huh?
It is. When the fuck is it gonna come? The new one gonna come out of early access? I want to play it so bad.
Probably this year.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah. This is a great game. I think it's great for the price. $40.
I think it's an easy recommendation.
Easy.
Especially
$40, huh?
if I got it on the Epic Game Store, is that sale, the $10 coupon, still good? Because
That
I
goes
got
on
it.
for like a really long time.
Yeah, I got it for $30 on Epic Game Store because of that deal. So I would take advantage. I got several things with that deal, so that's a pretty good thing to.
I just have
take
one final
advantage of.
question. Why did you loop the same 2 minutes over and over and over again?
Brad's a punk ass.
Got him.
Doesn't make as much sense when I just commented on this cool cave, but you know,
I tried to warn you, Brad.
repetitive. You do the same shit. You get my joke.
I do get your joke, but I also very blatantly said that at the beginning. It's literally finding points of interest on a map and eating things.
No, I know.
Yes.
Some of which are people, but the map is fun. A lot of cool, a lot of interesting
This
stuff.
this is something I'd probably try out myself if it wasn't $40. I mean, teach their own. Some people $40
Technically
isn't much,
30.
but this doesn't look like a $40 game to me. But you know,
Also,
I'll play when it's cheaper.
bit of a spoiler, but I think this is probably the most fun final boss fight I've had this year.
Okay, don't say anything.
I won't say
more than
anything
How
that.
many final bosses have you fought?
I mean,
I'm about to say it's been kind of slim pickings for final bosses. This
Well, I'm about to fight the Final Fantasy VII final boss. I don't know who it is. I think I know who it is, but I don't know who it is.
well, I think this.
Is it better than that?
I think so.
We'll talk about that next week. Make sure you ask him
You
that
have to
exact
fight PETA.
question. Oh my god.
Wait, what would PETA have against this game?
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah,
shark
they'd
eating
be
people.
happy about the game.
it's
Yeah,
a
this is
shark
the shark.
revenge game.
Yeah.
The shark is eating lots of other.
They don't like it
animals,
when
though.
the shark eats other fish.
Yeah.
It is so funny when you go full speed and launch yourself towards the beach and you just land there. You just start eating so many humans. They're screaming all around. It's so funny.
just flop onto the beach and violently eat all the people on their beach towels.
It's the flopping that's the funniest part about it because they animate it so well. Like I can
pretty.
believe that's actually how a shark would do on land.
It's pretty good. It's
It's
pretty
so
good.
good.
Probably not like that though.
Wait, what?
I mean, you
Never mind.
whatever. Let's move on.
I don't think a shark on land would be so successful at killing a bunch of people.
Again, based on reality. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next game. Monster Train.
Oh.
Brad,
Man, you're really nailing these transitions.
I know.
The
I was
first one
think-
was Maneater.
Speaking
What
of
is it?
transitions,
Brad, would you like to
Monster.
handle all my transitions for the rest of the night?
Sure.
All right. I'm just
So,
gonna point. When I point like this, I'm pointing to you, Brad. I don't know if that looks like that on your screen, but I'm
Okay.
pointing to you so you can transition to the next game.
Well, we go from a terrible value for you know what? I'm
You know
not
what?
gonna be mean.
Fuck
I'm gonna
you.
veto you right there.
Yeah.
Monster Train. It's the new hot. And when I say hot, I mean it's blown up a little bit. It's the new Slay the Spire killer, as some people are saying.
Another fucking
Brad, you-
Hearthstone clone.
You know my
Hearthstone. There's a
No,
couple
not quite.
things wrong you said there. But
you know my tweet I tweeted at you the other day, Brad, about this game.
yeah.
The Monster Train Twitter retweeted it.
So no, it's not like Hearthstone because it's not like a PvP card battler game. It is a Slay the Spire like, but the twist on this one is instead of fighting like one group of enemies for each battle, you are fighting waves of enemies that are trying to make it up to the top of your train to destroy your pyre. So
For those
I've
who are
heard
not
people say
familiar,
this:
for
slay
people
the
who are-
spire, save the pyre. Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
So
Real
yeah,
quick.
you're the demons, and you're trying to stop the good guys from destroying your train.
I was just gonna say, for people who may not be familiar with Slay the Spire, it is a card-based
deck building roguelike.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the keyword deck building, as in you start with a very simple deck that doesn't really do much, and as you complete battles, you draft cards, you choose between like several cards, add them to your deck, and your deck gets more powerful, synergizes, gets crazy combos and stuff.
Just let you know that the footage you're watching of me right now, my deck is ridiculously OP.
That's the theme though. That's the theme of Monster Train. See, Slay the Spire, it's elegant and simple, right? But it's like building a really powerful deck is something that takes, you know, hours and hours of like practice and failed runs. You get really good at it, and when you get a nice synergy going in Slay the Spire, it feels really good. In this game, you become like super powerful like right away, and the way the game balances against that is the enemy
not necessarily
like,
right away. So that's what I wanted to bring up, but there's definitely been plenty of runs of this where I've gotten shit cards that don't synergize well, and I just feel like miserable, and I almost just want to give up. And then I've had several runs where like it just, the way the artifacts synergize with my cards and synergize with the upgrades I've gotten from my cards. Like in this one, one of the big deals in this is one aspect of cards is some of them, the more kind of generally powerful ones, have consume on them. Meaning when you use that card, it is gone for the rest of battle. You cannot use it again until your next battle. There are some shops you can come across where maybe you can pay a little bit of money to remove consume from a card. So in this case, I had this, I forget the name of the card, but it was like a vial. And whenever you use it, you get these spikes added to your inventory. They're these spike cards that do like 5 damage, not that much. Well, I found an artifact that increases my spike damage by 20, so all of my spikes now do 25 damage. And then I upgraded that card to remove the consume, and then I found a location where I can duplicate cards. So I duplicated that card 5 times. So I had a card.
Damn it, that's the fucking thing. That is like the perfect thematic like comparison to Slay the Spire. In Slay the Spire, duping, there's a relic you can buy from a shop for a lot of gold that called the mirror. It's the something mirror that lets you duplicate a card in your deck, which obviously would be your best card. And that's like an amazing relic, right? Because duplicating a card is huge, because you know it's just huge in Slay the Spire. In this game, that event that Nolan just described, where you can choose to duplicate one thing in your deck once or 5 times and have 5 of them, I've gotten that event in more than half the runs of this game I've done. That's symbolic of how quickly you scale up in this game.
But I also will say,
feel significant.
I also will say that there's been multiple times where I've gotten to that, duplicate something, and I have not really had a card in my deck that I want to really duplicate.
That's one of the things I noticed about playing a handful of runs in this game now, is that as far as like strategy and being successful, I feel like you need to like get one really good monster or unit, because you play like minions or whatever in this game, kind of like in Magic the Gathering. And Slay the Spire, you didn't really do that. And getting one really good monster and upgrading it really well, or getting a really good spell and upgrading it really well, and then start duping that. And if you don't get good upgrades, I feel like early on, before you start the duping process, then you could really fall behind. Same thing with like the artifacts you get at the start of a run can be like very huge.
There's been a couple of times
a good deck really quickly
where I've started a game and I got shitty artifacts, and I'm like, I almost want to just like restart this, just because I just don't feel like I'm gonna go far. Because
I feel like I mean, I completely agree with you there. I feel like some artifacts are so fucking powerful, and I've won runs with and it's like, man, it was all because of this fucking overpowered artifact. And I can't think of, there's a couple artifacts in like that in Slay the Spire, but they're pretty fucking rare. Like something like a dead branch or whatever, right? Here, I feel like I'm getting overpowered shit all the time, and the way the game counters it is it has like bosses or like minions and stuff with ridiculous effects that can really fuck you up, and bosses so many hit points, way more hit points than you.
Some of them are just like silly, ridiculously high. Like, you know, there'll be a time. Yeah, some of the bosses have like over 2,000 health, and a lot of the times you can't attack their health right away. You can't attack them until the very end. Sometimes you'll get lucky. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, Brad, is some of those like minions, like little enemies that you should just be able to knock out fine. Some of them have pretty high health or like a high level of shield.
Yeah, and that can really fuck you over.
It can, but one of the things that sucks about this game is every time you enter a battle, you have the option, not every time, but every like other time almost, you have the option of being like, hey, I want to take a little more punishment for a little more reward. Yeah. But sometimes that extra punishment they throw at you is like, no fucking way. There's no way I would go into battle with every enemy when they advance to the next floor, they refill the health.
But completely. See, I love that,
like,
because it lets you be really aggressive and play really risky. Like, I could lose the fucking run here, but if I can get this extra artifact, it might be such a significant boost to my deck.
I'll do those at the very beginning. At the very beginning, I'll take the huge punishment. But if I'm in a really good run and I'm on like the second to last area, I'm not going to take that big punishment because I'm like, I could either win it all or get fucked.
Is there such thing as a situation where the punishment that it deals out is literally impossible to overcome?
I don't think it would ever. Well, no.
Depending on your deck, yes, very much. Like I said, if there were enemies in that, because the nice thing about it is you know what enemies you're going to have to fight. Like on the right hand side of the screen, right before you enter battle, when it's saying like, hey, do you want to take on this punishment, you can hover over each enemy type and it will tell you information about them.
I don't think it shows them all. It's just some of them.
It shows some of them. I think maybe the more powerful ones. But in that instance, one of the enemies it showed had 200 health. And that meant every time it went up a level, it was going to get 200 health.
Yeah.
So that means I had to do 200 damage before it could advance, which is a ridiculous amount. Have there been times where I've had that? Yeah, sure. I have an enemy on my team right now that can do a fucking 100 damage twice every turn. But first off, damage if they're that 200 health enemy, if someone's in front of him, well, they're going to get hit first, and if they only have 3 health, it doesn't matter. One of those 100 healths went to them, so I lost 97 damage that just kind of evaporated. So I mean, it's all about kind of playing the field and stuff like that. So I didn't take that gamble. But I mean,
like that the gambles. I like that the gamble options there, and you can play aggressive or really weigh if it's worth it or not. I mean, I feel like if those options weren't there, it might get a little. You might kind of get comfortable with like your strategies or whatever. This keeps it, spicy.
So what I'm seeing is a card game that is very much similar to like like the Magic derivative card games, right? Like you're playing minions against an enemy's minions.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
And
it's kind of tower defense-y, actually.
Well, what I was going to ask is what exactly is the mechanical significance of like the levels on the train car?
Once they get to the top,
I see you like playing monsters on different levels, and like the enemies sometimes like playing monsters on different
monsters
levels.
Always go up after every round of battle. They go up, and at the top above the 3rd floor is your pyre, and that's sort of like your player health or whatever. And when that gets to 0, you lose the game. So you're trying to kind of doing this tower defense of setting up your minions to best take out the waves. They're kind of like
when
waves.
They get up to your pyre, are they there like defending it, or they're there?
No, they're attacking it.
Your pyre can defend itself, but similar to every other level below, the enemy will take a turn, then the pyre will take a turn. But once they get to the pyre, it just goes back and forth until one of them dies. Yeah. So if you look on the top left, you can see my pyre has, I can't see it because I'm on 360p.
Health.
And how much damage can it do?
Oh, it can do 40 damage.
40. So every time an enemy attacks, it'll take whatever that enemy's damage output is, and then it will dish out 40 damage to the enemy. And they keep going back and forth until one of them dies.
The pyre is essentially like your face.
Yes.
Okay.
Player health, like in Magic.
And so that's why most of my minions are on the first 2 levels, because generally I can probably take care of them on those 2 levels, and then I have one guy on the 3rd in case somebody gets up there.
But you can choose what level you're playing them on.
Correct. If you have space, and
there's a space limit,
and then they can So then they can only defend your pyre from attacks if they're on the same level as the pyre.
No enemy, no minion can be on the same level as the pyre. That's the thing. You can't have your own guys with the pyre. So as soon as the pyre's on the 4th floor, so enemies come in on the 1st, sometimes the big boss will spawn them on the 2nd or the 3rd, and they work their way up each time. And if they go from the 3rd to the 4th, the only defense is your pyre defending itself.
When I saw a trailer for this game, there's a game that I played on like 10 years ago on the stream that this reminds me of very much. It was a WiiWare game called Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. My Life as a King.
Crystal Chronicles. I loved the My Life as a King.
No. My Life as a Dark Lord. You were the bad guy minions, and there were heroes trying to go up your castle to the top. And once they reached the top, they would you'd lose or whatever. So you were placing minions to stop them from going up. It was very similar to this. And that game was fucking cool. So when I saw that, I was like, this is a really good mix. And there's like a ton of like content in this game. You know how like Slay the Spire, after a year, it got in early access, it got its like 3rd hero finally, and then a year after that it got its 4th. This game, it launched with
I thought Slay the Spire was last year.
It was in early access for a long time.
Early access before.
It launched this game launched with 5 heroes and with 5 different decks, and as you start to unlock the later ones, they get pretty fucking crazy.
Have you unlocked all 5?
I haven't unlocked the 5th one yet, but I know what it is because I've seen a video of someone playing it, and it's so different than the ones before it. The 4th one is all about you play the champion. So that's another thing that's different. You do play a champion card that's sort of like your main deck's card, like your main hero unit or whatever.
Like the best card in your deck,
It's like the best card in your deck, and it gets stronger throughout the run. It's like but the one in the black deck, it's kind of like the black deck is like this thing called the Penumbra, and it's all about that deck's all about spawning these little morsels that remind me of like the little dust bunny dudes and Spirited Away.
Sure.
And the Forge dudes, they're like that. They're these little like balls of dust or whatever, and they carry like upgrades or whatever. And after a round of combat, your minion in the front eats them all, and they get buffs. So it's all about playing these things called morsels and then eating them and then getting stronger. And it's the interactions between that and the various cards you get are like so unique. And I was really glad that it got weird, because the first couple are very simple, right? Like the first demons you get, the red deck is kind of just like big tanky demon enemies, and then the second deck was about beefy dudes with lots of healing. And that was the other thing I wanted to bring up, Brad, is a couple of points. So sorry, at the end of the footage, I forgot I was recording a different system than I thought. But anyway, so Krispy, because I'm sure you probably might get into this. Yes, you have your champion in each deck, and like Brad said, you get to choose the way they progress. So at the beginning, you can have a choice between 2 different things. Do you want them to do this or this? In this instance, the option was essentially, do you want your champion, every time he gets hit, you get to draw a card, which is nice. You just get an extra card. Or they start with spikes on them, which essentially mean anytime an enemy attacks them, they take damage and more health. So you have a lot more health, and they take damage. And so that's what I chose. And so if you notice, my champion, they have 0 attack power, but they have a high amount of health. So essentially, they're kind of just a shield for me. Yeah, using thorns to damage.
Exactly. So, yeah. And so, but as that goes on, you can kind of swap back and forth between those 2 paths. So the next time I do an upgrade, I can actually go with that like revenge damage, or that revenge draw a card thing, or I can give myself even more thorns that do damage. And so you can kind of get to pick and choose how your champion levels up. The other cool
based
thing
on like the flow of your deck, whatever's best for that.
The other cool thing about this is having the different heroes and the different decks. You actually don't take one deck into these. You take your main deck and a sub deck. So you get to choose. So at the end of this, you'll have 5 champions. Well, now you have like a mix and match. So you can go in with the this deck and this one, or you can kind of pick and choose between them, which is nice because some of them synergize more better with each other, and you got to kind of get to choose which one you want to go with, which artifacts you've unlocked, to kind of just really broaden the possibilities of gameplay.
Yeah. Again,
so that's why you notice in here that I have some cards that are green and some that are red. The green are from my main deck, the red are from my sub deck. I don't remember the names of the decks, unfortunately.
So unique decks and lots of mixing and matching of those decks, like Magic the Gathering, where you're usually playing 2 colors. It just means, and a lot of unlockable stuff too. It seems like from the handful of runs I've done, it just seems like there's an insane amount of like replay value, and I'm not surprised that this thing is kind of blowing up like the way Slay the Spire did when it first came out.
Like, did this literally just come out like a couple of days ago? Because I had never heard of it, and then all of a sudden everybody in Discord.
Yeah, it came out like a week or 2 ago or something.
Was it like a stealth drop or something? I didn't even remember you talking about it.
Well, I noticed because I watched a couple of Slay the Spire players on YouTube, and they both started putting out content for this game because it was like paid promotions, right?
Yeah.
But then after the paid promotion was over, they were still uploading content like videos, and I was like, okay, this one must be good, because I've seen them do that before with like Griftlands or whatever. Like the guy who played Slay the Spire did a few videos of Griftlands, and when that paid promotion was over, he stopped uploading Griftlands stuff. And people were asking him about it. Hey man, you gonna play Griftlands again? He's like, I feel like it. I don't feel like it. But this and playing it like non-fucking stop.
I will say, Nick, this is definitely a lesser known game. The official Twitter account for Monster Train has 785 followers. Like, it's definitely not like the biggest shit out there, but I think it's gonna take off. I think it's gonna take off, like Brad was saying. It is super simple yet super deep. It's really easy to get into, but also very addictive. It's one of those games where when you start playing it, you don't realize, 3 hours have passed. Just because you'll spend time, every time you draw a hand, you don't immediately start playing stuff. You're like, okay, well, hold on, let me think about this. If I play this card first, then that will change this order. Like, I have a card that will do damage to an enemy and push them to the back row, which sometimes is beneficial. Sometimes you'll have a row of enemies where the first one has a shit ton of health, and the 2 people behind him, they barely have any health. But the problem is, if you can't hit them, they're going to move on to the next level. And so it's one of those things where sometimes you want to, it's just all about like kind of playing your cards in certain orders, and obviously there's some RNG to it as well. What cards you draw. I had one card that I really fucking like from the green deck, which is kind of OP. But when you play it is a consume, which means you only play it once per battle. But when you play it, it draws a random monster card from your hand with 0 cost, which means you don't have to use any of your Ember, which is like on the bottom left, that number, to play it. And it gets like a 20x like offense bonus and 20 more health. It essentially just OPs the shit out of the card. And it costs you almost nothing. And that sounds like, that sounds pretty good. But then when you realize, I actually have a card in my hand that has 2 multi-strikes on it, which means every time it actually attacks 3 times in a row. So now that card's, instead of doing 5 damage 3 times, it's doing 25 damage 3 times, which just like made that card
multiplicative scaling that I've been saying is so you get these huge jumps like that in this game.
Yeah,
which is, it can be very exciting. You can have a run that's going very poorly, and then all of a sudden have a good shop and like completely turn it around, which is a good feeling.
Yeah,
but shit can go bad real quick too. So.
Oh yeah, no, there's like, actually in the game I have, like, if I boot up the game right now, I'm actually in the final fight, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose. If I had gotten like 1 or 2 artifacts slightly differently, I think I would have been fine. But like it's just the enemy has too much health. The buffs the final boss does is kind of ridiculous. And it's just like one of those things where I lost it all at the very end of my run, and it sucks, but whatever.
Yeah. Krispy, I think you would really like this game. I also recommend it to Ed if you're listening.
No, I mean, it looks really interesting. I was just trying to wrap my head around like if this was mostly just like presentation, or like how it like I'm sitting here looking at it, and it looks like you're just playing like a card game against a computer. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know.
Yes and no.
It's a roguelike, so every run is going to be like very different.
Right, it's very different. It's like a deck building.
The other thing we didn't get into, Brad.
But so like the
similar.
Combat... Oh no, go ahead.
No, sorry, real quick, Crispy. Similar to Slay the Spire, how Crispy, you played Slay the Spire, you enjoyed that game. There's paths you can take, right? You don't necessarily go down the same one. Right. That's the same in this. So every time you fight an enemy, you get to a new section, and there's actually 2 paths you can take. And you have to choose, and you can see kind of what's down each path. You can see on the left side, there's like a magic shop where you can upgrade your spells. There's something that will restore your pyre's health. But on the right-hand side, there's like, there's this, I forget what it's called, right? What's like the frost thing called?
The event or whatever? Or the one on the cards?
Yeah, so there's a frost thing. I forget what it's called.
We'll just call it that.
Sure. And it's this like orb of blue like frost, and you have no idea what's going to happen in that. Completely random. Sometimes it will let you duplicate cards. Sometimes it will just give you an artifact. Sometimes it will give you like an item. Sometimes it'll let you spend pyre health to gain things.
Pretty crazy events. I had this event where this dude was like, "Hey man, I can't explain what this is, but just take these fucking things and I'll meet you later." This was the event. And he put like 3 curses in my deck, and these cards. And I was like, okay, my run was going poorly. But then, like a couple of acts later, or I beat like a fight, and he joined me, and the dude was a card that made those like negative effects like way better or something like that. And I was like, that's a cool
tournament. Yeah, that is.
Leap of faith.
The other cool thing I had in this one is you can see on the left that in this footage I have 2 cards that are really powerful. One of the main reasons I defeat the boss so easily in this is I have an artifact that when a round starts, 4 random monster cards appear on the middle row. And it happened to throw my 2 strongest enemies on there. It doesn't matter how much space is on there. It doesn't matter that I can only fit 5 spaces. It threw like 9 on there. Like it'll overload that level. Yeah.
That's so.
But I just happened to get my 2 best monsters on the middle. So anything that got to the second floor just fucking got destroyed.
Fourth deck, I think they'll start introducing like ascend and descend cards, or have you already noticed that?
I have the 3rd deck. That's as far as I've gotten though.
You know you can overstack a room yourself.
I did not know you could do that.
So I'm ignoring pips, right? With pips means you can't place them in there anymore, right? But if you use like ascend, you can send a unit up there, and you can have up the limit is 7 units. So you get a few ascend cards, maybe put like holdover on them. You can take all of your units up to the same floor and just have like a big boss killer room.
So
I didn't know that.
Before we started this conversation, or before we started this podcast, I did say,
yeah, that's true,
that if I don't say anything,
you guys are just
okay. We can move on, but
this will just become the Monster Train podcast.
That's fine.
It sounds
okay. Basically, what I'm thinking right now is single player roguelike mashup of Hearthstone, Gwent, and
Crispy. This also has multiplayer.
Elder Scrolls Legends.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. That's what I'm saying. Is like I suspect. I haven't played the game yet, but I suspect that the presentation is making people think that this is a different game than it actually is. Because I think you can break up the levels as either rounds or as lanes and just have it be a flat game board where you're playing cards against another person's cards.
No, it's different because it's like tower defensey because your units are kind of like towers while they're like waves of streams coming through. So it's not. It doesn't feel like a 1v1 thing. It feels like a tower defense thing.
Yeah, I think tower defense is kind of one of the better ways to describe it.
Slay the Spire meets tower defense is what it feels like.
Yeah, but like we're saying tower defense because it goes up. Maybe I don't know. Like
because waves are progressing.
No. I gotta play this game. Because I feel like I'm not getting the full story.
I
gotta play this game. I bought it already. I just haven't started.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I just feel like I'm not like no. There's something like there's the lie on top, and then there's like the truth just beneath it. And
I can't wait to hear the truth about Monster Train.
I love when like intangible things like plague Krispy when he could so easily just try the thing. Like,
well, yeah, I'm going to.
I can't wrap my mind around dreams. I own it, but I can't wrap my. I haven't played.
Stop it.
I just, you know what I'm saying.
Stop it.
I thought
This is not that.
Can I wrap up with something that's not about like the mechanics or anything?
Please wrap up.
It's sort of a thought that I had. I was thinking,
and then I want you to transition.
Into
talking about space dwarves. Okay.
Okay. So Grifflands was, it was the clay. I talked a little bit about it last week. I was actually going to talk about it more in depth here if this game didn't come out. It's also a Slay the Spire like, right? I tried streaming it, and that's such a sleek game. It is a game where like a good artist had a vision and made everything like look uniform and in a certain way, and this thing is like gaudy and it's in your face, and you know what I realized? The sleek like look of Grifflands actually does it a disservice. Everything's a little too uniform and everything's a little too samey, right? I feel like the success of something like Magic the Gathering is that all these cards have like different artworks on them. Some of them kind of suck, some of them are great, but like they're all different, right? And they don't all like necessarily like flow together. Maybe some do like in a certain deck, right? But you could tell that different artists are working on them, right? I feel like that's such a huge thing in making something like this visually appealing, where initially it looks kind of gaudy, but as the more you play it, the more you start to like the personality of like the artist come out, right? And you can look at a card and say, oh, I know what artist did this one, right? Like Grifflands is the edges are too smooth, and I feel like it makes it less fun to play and less fun to
and its style.
Less exciting to watch as a viewer of a stream, because does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. I was playing Gwent the other day, and I was just thinking about how like visually interesting Gwent is, specifically because all the card art is really beautiful. Every card is animated, and they have like an interesting visual style for the board and everything like that. But yeah, I think for card games in particular like this, if they're gonna ask you to like collect and assemble, and they're gonna have like different factions and everything, like the art is super important. Like you got to get that right after the mechanics. Like that's almost as important as the mechanics, I feel like.
And the whole UI.
This seems okay. Art wise.
Well,
the art's great.
I didn't really love it at first. Like I when I saw that YouTuber like first pitch this game, I'm like, oh, this is such an obvious, like, it looks like a mobile game.
Yeah.
Like this is not something that's appealing. This paid promotion is just, he's doing it for the money. But then when I started playing, or I watched them play, and then I started playing, and I'm like, no, man, this is
the real deal.
This is the real deal. Yeah, I'm gonna be playing this for a while.
Cool. Well, I'm sure we'll hear about it again.
I want it on Switch though, man.
Brad, are you playing on PC?
Yeah. It's only.
That's all it's on.
Oh, okay.
So bad.
All right, Brad.
Yeah. Oh,
talk to me about Space Dwarves, okay?
Not the only new game I've been playing, and not the only game tonight that I haven't. Me and Krispy played Deep Rock Galactic.
We played the Space Dwarf game.
Yeah, the Space Dwarves game, which this is a game that I've been hearing a lot about over the years as it's been in early access. It was in early access for quite some time.
I'm pretty sure I saw this at a PAX too.
I kind of ignored it. Anytime someone brought it up, I like fast forward.
We've had it on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I played it a little bit.
But in early access.
Well, we played a little bit more. We were going to play some more, but then a storm happened. And when I started watching some reviews and some trailers, I'm like, oh, I actually really like the look of this, and plus like geomodding.
It's giving me Outer Wilds vibes a little bit.
Well, it's not like that game, but it does maybe a similar color palette or something. I don't fucking know, but it this is a game. I think people have been comparing it to Borderlands. It's not that. I think it's because we have like 4 characters and they all feel kind of different in the way they play.
Yeah.
But
watching you drill into the ground, like just picking a random spot and drilling into the ground.
The driller class, 100% of the environment is completely destructible.
It made me think of Red Faction, like back in the day, drilling
Red
like
Faction
tunnels.
1, yeah.
Yeah.
This is why the driller is so cool, because this environment is completely to be drilled through. And at first I was a little frustrated because Krispy said he wanted to be the scout, and he was very adamant about the
I said I wanted to be the engineer. You guys ignored me, and then you made me the scout.
Because Kenton already chose an engineer, and he was already the engineer or whatever. The point is, when I said I wanted to be the scout, Krispy was like, "Fuck you, I'm the scout. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." So I was like, "Okay, you're the scout." But the scout has a grappling hook, and he can like zip around the environment. And I was like,
the scout is really fun.
I want to do that, but oh well, I'll be the driller. He has a flamethrower. I guess he's a little more tanky, but he can drill. And at first I was just drilling holes in the ground or in walls, but then I realized you could just drill into a rock surface and just start drilling up and then come out up top, just poke a hole, and all of a sudden your way of navigating these mines, the environments, is through drilling into walls, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, he has his own way of navigating the environment that's just as interesting as using a jetpack or a grappling hook to like zip around everywhere.
Everyone has a unique mobility thing. The engineer can create like rock platforms in the walls and hop along those. The gunner has a zipline gun, and he can create zip lines that the entire team can use.
Brad, that game that you got disconnected on, we kept playing for a while, and I was playing as the engineer, and like we started doing some crazy shit with those platforms on the platform gun. It's so fucking cool. This game
what is like the overall like? This is obviously y'all are playing online together. What is like the goal?
4-player co-op online missions. You select a mission type, but essentially you're going to these planets, these miney planets. You're underground. The drop ship is like a giant drill that digs into the planet or whatever. So when you jump out of your dropship, you're in these caves, and you're usually trying to mine a certain amount of resources or completing some sort of objective. Like in this footage, I have to find like 7 of these stones, but these stones are in the ground, so I have to like dig and find them and take them back to my dropship. And while you're doing that, kind of waves of enemies will start coming at you. Not waves, but waves.
Sometimes you get waves.
It's kind of like aliens or something, where you're fighting. It's hard to tell here because I'm playing single player and there's a lot less enemies. But when you're playing 4-player, like it's like fucking aliens. They're just coming at you, and you're just I'm the flamethrower dude, so I'm just trying to like fight them off. And you get that sense of aliens, team kind of fighting waves of xenomorphy type enemies while you're trying to complete your objective. I heard some people compare it to kind of like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, it's kind of that. The one thing I was comparing it to, the closest comparison I could come up with is the Save the World, Fortnite Save the World mode, where it's like you're like there's 2 distinct phases to the mission, where like in the first phase it's 4 players co-op, and they're just in a world, and they're just trying to like gather resources and like build a fort, and then you activate an objective and you have to defend it with your fort while they're sending like waves and waves of bugs or zombies in Fortnite's case at you. But yeah, here it's just like it's like a shit ton of different types of
here you're that final wave or that final like objective is usually to kind of run to a drop pod that your escape. I mean, your escape.
Yeah, if you're doing like a collection mission.
Yeah, if you're doing like a collection one, so an escape pod will drop, and your entire team has to like 3 minutes to get the fuck out. So you're trying to run to that escape pod while waves of enemies are coming at you, and I guess that's where it could.
And it's crazy because you get so turned around in these caves, and it's like dark and everything. Like it's fucking hectic.
A couple of things I want to mention is that the art style is this low poly art that I think looks fucking great.
It does. It looks awesome.
The destructibility of the environment. I'm playing by myself, so you can't see the other dwarves, but the dwarves are all low poly. Like their low poly beards look really cool. It's just got a really nice look to it. Really cool lighting as well. Like one of the best things in this game are these little flares that you toss out, like because you're in these really dark environments and you have unlimited amount of flares, but they're on a recharge, right? So you can kind of use them whenever you want. And it's such a satisfying thing to fling them out there, and all of a sudden everything becomes illuminated.
Yeah, the real-time lighting looks really good.
good feel, good look. It just looks good. It feels good, and like
really fun game
of getting resources, completing missions, and going back to upgrade your weapons and your armor and stuff.
Dude, all of the like little details too are just like fucking great. Like the people who made this game like have a really fun and well dialed in sense of like dwarves, I guess, you know, like I don't know, like in the fucking like in the main base area where you're like gearing up before you go on your missions, you've got like a bar where you can drink different types of grog and mead.
Ooh.
and they give you different status effects almost like in Monster Hunter.
Where
that's like
cool.
where you can do stuff before you go, and then they have like a dance floor and you can dance and stuff. And there's just so many like little touches in this game that's like, yeah, like it just shows a lot of care and love, and I think the whole package works together so well. It's a fucking great game.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
I almost feel bad I'm playing Nolan's copy because I want to invite him.
So is this a game you can play through like independently or
solo? Like I'm playing it.
Yeah, it'll give you drones to help you.
There's way less enemies, and you have that drone that helps you. But you know you want to. It's wrong. It feels wrong to do it that way. Which I'm a little divided because it's actually kind of zen. Since it looks good, the music's really good. Like
music's so good. The music's so good.
It's a little bit of a chill, even though there's like waves of enemies. Sorry, it's kind of a chill experience that I thought playing by myself would be kind of nice. But when you're playing in co-op the way we were, and maybe I actually didn't adjust the mission difficulty, but like ammo becomes an issue. Like you really gotta conserve ammo when you can, because if not, you have to spend resources to send a resupply drop, and it can feel really tense. Like, you know, we were constantly dying and having to be revived by other teammates, and obviously if you're playing alone, you just don't really get that sensation. So but you know, this is also a perfect game just to kind of like low impact co-op gaming. Like if you just want to play a game to hang out with
friends,
this is a good one to do that.
Could be a cool like community night type game as well, maybe.
Yeah,
I was playing with Pocop and Kenton and Soul Glove, and it was pretty cool. Except Pocop sort of is obsessed with the non-threatening fauna of the environment. If you kill a creature that's not actively trying to kill you, he screams really loud. Very
good. I'll keep that in mind. Okay.
That sounds like Pocop.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we were killing everything we saw just to piss him off.
There it is. I knew that was coming. All right, cool. So that's Deep Rock Galactic. This is this on Steam or Epic Game Store? I don't even know.
Steam.
Cool. All right. I think we have one more game to talk about before we cut for break. Nolan.
Actually, can we cut for break? Because
all right,
it's been an hour.
Okay, sure. What is going on? Why did I see 1998 month pop up on our screen?
I pressed the wrong hotkey.
No.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Nolan's going to tell us about his time with Civilization 6. And we're going to answer some questions of supporters on Patreon and Twitch and do supporter spotlight. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk more about video games. You know what? I'm gonna be totally honest. We kind of half-heartedly talked about like, oh, Civ 6 is free on Epic Game Store last week, and we both downloaded it. I didn't think anyone was actually gonna play it before this week, but Nolan went and played Civ 6, and I want to hear about it.
His first Civilization game.
My first 4X game, to be honest. And I'm going to say this. Have I played some Civilization 6? Yes, I have.
Uh-oh.
Have I watched 5 times as many like minutes in video form. I've probably watched a good 2.5 hours of Civ 6 videos trying to figure out how the fuck I play this game. Because, I started playing the game. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. Like, yes, do I understand that I have someone standing here and they can build a city here and I have a warrior that can attack someone? Yes, all of that makes sense. The thing is, there are 10,000 small little icons in this game that you can interact with, and I have no idea what fucking half of them do. And there are like 4 different trees of like there's your civics tree, and you have your research tree, and you have like just like all this different shit, and just trying to figure out where the fuck I tweeted and a couple people responded and we're like, oh, blah blah blah, it eases you in. And like, sure, I guess at the end of the day, I'll have played some Civilization, but will I have played it well? Not at all. And I just feel like I'm doing things so wrong. Like, I interacted...
Maybe you should stream this and just let people
like. The thing is, you're coming up. I guess the last builder or sim you played was Frostpunk, and the stakes on that are so much higher than they are here. Here you can, if you just want to like chill and build the wonder, you fucking can. You know what I mean? You don't have to.
So I did build a wonder. I built the Hanging Gardens.
All right,
I guess. But the thing was, like, so like I'm encountering all these like city states, and one guy I saw online was like, "Oh God, as soon as you see a city state, you gotta fucking declare war and take them over, and now you get a free city."
What? No.
Oh, geez. No. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting mixed signals.
Okay, so
fucked up, man.
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish kind of saying how my first run has gone.
Who are you playing? America?
Yes, because I was told that that's a good one to start with.
Fucking warmonger.
And so, I've not battled anyone except for barbarians. I encountered Norway. It was a very nice greeting. They said hi. I sent over a diplomat. 2 turns later, their guy said he hated me because I didn't have a strong navy, and he wanted to break up our friendship. A little bit later, I encountered Cleopatra, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Cleopatra from Egypt. How's it going?" And I was like, "It's great. What's up, Cleopatra? I'll send a diplomat your way. Here's some money." And she's like, "Oh, cool. Thanks for the money." And like 3 turns later, she's like, "You're a weakling. I hate you because you haven't fought anybody." And I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?" And like, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm supposed to expand. So I'm supposed to build more little cities over the place. But then Norway keeps encroaching on my territory. And I'm like, well, I'm not supposed to attack him because I'm pretty sure if I did, I'd be demolished. And I just, like, I don't feel like I'm good at anything. I guess if that makes sense. Like, I don't feel like I have a good army. So I feel like if anybody were to attack me, I'd be fucked. My city, all the fucking citizens are mad because I don't have enough amenities. And while in real life I know what an amenity is, I have no fucking idea what it is in the game. And they're like, build more amenities, and I'm like, what the fuck is an amenity? Tell me what to build. And like, I'm like, oh well, there's a handy little encyclopedia, you can go in there and type amenities. And so I go and I type amenities, and it's like, you can build a zoo. And I'm like, no the fuck I can't. It's like 3000 BC. There's no zoos.
Coliseum.
Okay, so I just unlocked the ability to build a Coliseum fucking 20 turns later. But it's like one of those things where it's like, I really wish if my citizens were going to start getting pissed at me because I don't have enough amenities super early, I should maybe be able to build an amenity kind of early on. Yeah, like, why the fuck? But like, I didn't. Huh?
Scud Destroyer in chat says Civilization 6 assumes you played 5, whereas 5 assumes you have never played a Civilization. So it sounds like we should have played 5.
So
5 is beloved.
What you have to do with this game is you first have to focus on the strengths of the civilization you choose.
I don't know what that means.
So each civilization
Hold on. I know that Teddy Roosevelt, who I chose, has some good airplanes.
Oh yeah,
in 3000 fucking BC.
Yeah, you can.
I can't use.
So you can make the Rough Riders too.
So for example, the America is much better starting in the Renaissance and Industrial Age. Okay,
I'm nowhere fucking near
so
that.
yeah, you're a while away from that. You said you're in the Bronze Age right now.
I believe so.
Okay, so it's gonna be a while.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. In order to fucking build anything, I need iron. There's no fucking iron near me. The only places where there are iron are in someone else's territory. So I have to fucking fight someone to get to some iron.
To war!
Or no, you can trade for it.
Yeah.
I didn't even fucking know you could trade.
Yeah,
What? That's like a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I opened a trade
alliances
route,
are-
but I don't know what that means.
So what'll happen?
Trade between those.
Yeah, you'll click on a leader of that other civilization. There'll be a trade menu which you can trade one of your items for 30 turns or something like that for access to a resource or something. So you can trade
no items to give. I have some oranges.
You have oranges.
Those are luxury good.
Oranges are a thing that you can trade.
Hey, this podcast discussion can't be explained to Nolan how to play Civilization.
Why not?
So you said you said you watched a bunch of videos. Have they been like intro guides?
It was fucking information overload, Brad. I remember maybe a fraction of what I learned. I learned that you can build an encampment, and if your city has city walls, that encampment will also get city walls.
These aren't like advanced. These aren't like advanced tutorials, right?
I don't know where to fucking start, Brad. All I know is there's literally a fucking encyclopedia in this game of just this. First of all, it's the smallest fucking text in the world. I'm not by any means blind. I have 20/20 vision, but the text in this game is so fucking small. It is so fucking. Why is the text so
Nolan,
small?
Here's what I would do. I would go on Twitter, say, "Hey guys, I'm finding Civilization kind of daunting. Can anybody recommend any good beginner guides? And make sure it's for vanilla Civ because you don't need to worry about expansions and stuff yet. Because that's all you have.
That
right?
was the decision I made. Was I decided not to go to any expansion. So yes, I am playing vanilla Civ 6.
Go on Twitter and have someone try to find you a good beginner's guide. I'll retweet it or whatever. There's got to be. I bet there's like a gold standard video that people recommend for something like that, or a person who's good at explaining the game. Because reading the fucking glossary or whatever is not.
I'm gonna be honest. I totally get you, Nolan. It's not quite to this level for me, but like I felt the exact same way starting Pathologic 2. Like I was instantly going like I gotta find a video or something because there's so many systems here that I just don't understand, and they don't really do a great job of explaining it to you right out the gate. But the ones that I found helped me tremendously. So I'd spend some time, like Brad said, seeking out a good. There's got to be one.
Well, like I said, I've honestly, let me pull up my YouTube history. I've probably watched a good 3 hours of Civ 6 videos, just trying to understand stuff. And did I learn some stuff? Yes, but the problem is, it's like that's like trying to cram a semester's worth of material into 2 afternoons. Like you can't. It's just way too much to absorb at once. And I think that's the problem with this is you can't learn it all in a day. But that's the frustrating part is I feel like I'm just like in this footage, you're going to see me like moving my army around because I thought there were some barbarians over there. And I was like, let me kill these barbarians. There were no fucking barbarians anywhere. And so I wasted all of this time like moving these troops around when in reality, I probably should have just been ignoring them and like spending more time, I guess, building out cities. I don't know. Like the problem I'm having with this game is I don't know what I'm doing right. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I don't know you're how doing to remedy stuff. That. Yeah, I just feel like I'm fucking just like floundering around. Whereas like it seems like fucking Norway's building. They have fucking like giant warships like swimming near my coast, and I don't even fucking know how to build a ship. And he's like, "Your army's weak." This is what I tell. Like he's like get like.
But see, the thing is, don't look at Norway as a threat. Norway can be a friend. You know what I mean?
It's okay. I tried to make friends with him, but he said he hated me because I don't have a navy.
So every leader in the game, not only do their civilizations have certain focuses and abilities, they have an agenda and they have a hidden agenda and I've learned some of this shit, but like I said, like it means nothing to me. Like I don't understand how I know about all of these puzzle pieces. But I have no idea how to fit them all fucking together into like
a fun time.
Yeah, I think that's
all the videos I was watching were like, hey, you know, here's what you would do in this situation, but you might be in a different situation. Like all of the things I saw was like, oh, do this if you're in this situation, but not if you're in this one. And you know what? It really just depends on the situation you're in your game. Yeah. And okay, and I understand that might be the case, that things can be balanced. It all depends, you know, where your city is, if you're near this resource or you're near this resource. But the problem is I don't have the knowledge to know how to take that information and turn it into something positive. I don't know if when I'm near Cleopatra and when I'm near fucking Norway, I don't know the best way to treat them. And so, like I said, it just becomes this thing of, oh, I guess I'll research this thing next. I don't know if it's going to help me, but I will. And like, it's like, there was one more thing I was like researching, and I just like, why am I researching this? I don't know. Should I be building horsemen or should I be focusing on archers? Like, I just like, I don't know what to do.
And let me put your mind at ease a little bit here, Nolan, and say that I played a shit ton of Civ 5 and I never really got over that. Never really felt like I understood everything that was going on. It's just I think you just need to let go.
It seems like it's less about understanding everything about the game and more about understanding
understand that you're going to play a game for hours and hours and hours, and then someone's going to fucking sack your cities, and that's it.
No,
and that's Civ.
Nolan, I think letting go is just playing Monster Train. Get a multi-strike on a big beefy beef.
Oh,
everything will be better.
You found Greece. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think Greece is the only people that have been nice to me so far.
Okay.
For now.
Yeah. Well, I hope you find...
How good does it feel when you get quick on a big beefy beef?
Brad, you stop peddling that shit. I think it's important.
I will say, hold on, real quick, going back to Monster Train. I think I fucked myself because I took an artifact that randomizes the cost of your cards. And so sometimes I'll get like, oh, this card normally costs 3 embers and now it costs 0. But then like a really good card that costs 0 embers now costs 3.
Yeah,
and
that's confusion and Slay the Spire.
But it's the Snecko Eye relic from Slay the Spire. Guys, it also gives you more card draw.
Let's
gives you more
shut up, Brad. I said I was going to say something. I didn't say you were allowed to say something, Brad.
Stop.
I'm putting my foot down. We're not letting this happen again.
Put a gun in my mouth.
One of the best relics.
I told you this can't happen.
But anyway,
oh my God.
Will I keep playing Civ 6? Probably. I think I'm still going to be frustrated. But like I said, it's one of those things where they're just like 10,000 mechanics that are there in the game, and if I were to have a photographic memory and read through the encyclopedia and then play the game, I think I'd have a better time. But it's like one of those things where I often like get in a situation and I'm like, why can't I do this? Like, why can't I move and attack? And it's like, oh, well, it turns out I went into a forest. I didn't realize that forests slow your movement and shit like that. But it's like I spend 5 minutes staring at the screen trying to figure out what's going on. Whereas I know if I had played 40 hours of Civ before, I would be having a much more streamlined experience.
Yeah.
You'll get there, you'll be a pro, and you'll be able to play Civilization games for the rest of your life.
But hold on, but here's my problem is I need someone sitting next to me explaining it all to me constantly, because I think that's the only way I'm going to figure that out, is because I do something and I'm like, why did that happen? And unless I fucking try and Google and look up stuff and I didn't realize for the longest time, I thought Fortify would heal me. If I just stood there and did nothing, I thought I would gain health, but I guess it turns out I have to be in
your border.
See, I didn't know that. And for however fucking long in this footage, I keep fortifying my guys and thinking they're gaining health. And it's not until like 5 turns later that I realize they're not.
I will say, Nolan, there are several games that you felt like kind of overwhelmed with in the past, even Frostpunk or like Fallout 2, where once you streamed it, you've had that person there to answer questions. Maybe you should do that with Civ.
I would suggest maybe doing a community night where you do some co-op.
Or here's an idea.
What's up?
Well, that might not be necessary.
Stream the game, but find someone in our community that is like a Civ master, right?
I have the perfect candidate for you, Kenton.
And then see if they'd be willing to join you, like you stream and they're just in like an audio chat, and then they just are there to answer questions while you're playing.
That's what I was going to suggest, because the problem is if I was just playing this and chat was chatting, each turn would still take 20 minutes because I'd have to ask a question and it would take them a while to type it out. I would if I'll try and see if someone in the community wants to do that, and yeah, maybe I'll try that out, just because
Could be a fun stream too.
Even though I've played the game for, I don't know, like 3-4 hours now, I still feel like I don't understand 90% of what's going on.
Yeah. Once you understand the actual loop of creating your cities, expanding your empire, setting up trade, political relations. I mean, we didn't even talk about fucking setting up religions in this game or discovering some of the stuff going on the map.
No, Brett, I don't know if I have a religion. I have a pantheon, I guess, and that's not necessarily a religion. That's just like a religious.
That's the start of a religion, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you get a pantheon now. Here's 48 things you can choose from. Choose which one you want. I don't fucking know. I don't know if I don't
try
know
and
which
get someone next
to
you while you're.
Yeah.
If you could talk to someone while you're doing that'd probably be best.
So let me give you an example of one of the systems in the game when it comes to religion. When you have enough pantheon points, you can summon a great sage, and the sage, he will allow you to start your religion. That'll be a special ability. You'll cast him. It'll kill him, but it'll start the religion. You set up however you want. And there will be certain abilities you can have applied to that religion. One of them, for example, at least I remember from Civ 5, I think it's from Civ 6, was the ability to have holy points as well as additional food resources on desert tiles that are close to your city. So
that sounds pretty nitty gritty, Chris Davis.
Oh, hang on.
Says the guy who just went into the nitty gritty of Monster Train for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
What you did? You talked about the shark game longer.
Chris Davis.
That is nonsense, by the way.
So if you so that it comes into a strategy where if you decide to be a more religious civilization than a science-focused one, and you want to keep your civilization going and growing faster,
don't do that.
What you can do is have that pantheon part of your religion going, and then just settle in desert areas. And other civilizations aren't going to settle really near you because of the limited resources because of deserts. But because you have this ability, you can grow your cities much faster and spread your religion much quicker.
You're giving him like just a tip.
So hold on. Take a step back. From what I've learned, I understand what Chris Davis is saying. That's a way that you can go for the religious victory. And I understand that to get a religious victory, you need to have at least 50% of the citizens in every other city be a part of your religion. Mm-hmm. I understand the concept behind it. But once again, that's like I understand how brain surgery works in theory. I can't fucking do it. And that's what I'm saying is going on here. It's just like one of those things where everything I've read has said, like, if you go into a game of Civ with I'm going to get this type of victory, you're probably not going to, because it all depends on the scenarios you're in. And I understand that. I just don't understand how to cope with those scenarios to even get to like I've put points into religion, and I've put points into, science and writing and math. And I'm like, I don't know. We can probably end this conversation. We've had it for long enough. I'm going to continue playing it. Yes, the best idea probably would be to stream it and have someone join me that can help me out.
I think when you settle down and you finally understand the systems of the game, like, it will kind of blow your mind as to all these different possibilities of how you can play.
Problem is, you just got to get to that point. So
yeah,
let's move on.
I'm confident you'll get to that point.
I have one quick game I want to talk about. I played the DLC, or I haven't finished the DLC, but I've played about 3 solid hours of the DLC, the first DLC for Control. You remember, Brad, that game from last year that I didn't like enough.
Did you finish this?
The DLC?
Yeah.
No, I played for about 3 hours. Haven't finished it yet.
How long is it?
I mean, I'm guessing I'll probably finish it in one more sitting. I've heard it's like 4 or 5 hours, but it's kind of hard to. I don't really know. I don't have any way of gauging how far.
I know. I just feel like a DLC is like a finish it then talk about it sort of thing. But I mean,
you're right. I mean,
I don't want to step on you.
The thing that is different about this DLC is it's control. Mechanically speaking, it's control. But the one thing that kind of differentiates it from the main game really is I've already gotten to, and I understand. And that is at one point in the DLC, it gives you a choice between two different kinds of abilities, and you can only choose one. And depending on which one you choose, it changes the path that you can take through the story, which is interesting. Outside of that, mechanically speaking, it's the same thing. It's control, and a lot of the appeal of this DLC is lore and story shit, and it gets wild, super wild, and I love it. Like, it's all about going into the base of the oldest house, going underneath it, and you find this area that was being excavated, I guess, and researched, and you start to find all these things that kind of suggest that give you kind of the history of the oldest house and how it was discovered, and where the service weapon, which is the pistol that she uses in the game, was discovered. And you're finding all these like cave paintings on the wall, and there's all these like time paradoxes. Like, are these cave paintings from like thousands of years ago, or are they from the future? Like, it's wild. It's getting wild. So, not a lot to say. That's pretty much all I want to say. Like I said, I haven't finished it yet, but just kind of the crux of like pick one. You can only pick one of these skills, and that will kind of dictate how you move forward. Seems pretty cool.
So is it epilogue content for the story?
Yes.
Or is it okay?
Yeah, it takes place directly after the end of the main game.
Okay, interesting. Did you try? Go ahead.
What? I was just saying, I wouldn't want to spoil any of that for you, because I think still a lot of the appeal of this DLC is going to come from, if you like the storytelling shit in Control, it's more of that, and definitely wouldn't want to ruin that for you, because it's pretty good.
Okay. Does it take advantage of like that first that DLC or content update they did before about expeditions?
Not that I'm still unlocking expeditions and stuff as I'm playing. Like, I see them pop up, but I'm not really doing them. I'm kind of 100% focused on the story for the Foundation. But okay. It's pretty base Control stuff. So if you liked Control, the DLC so far seems really awesome. That's all I'll say.
I'm looking forward to playing it.
How's that Final Fantasy XIV going, Krispy?
Oh God.
It's going. It's going. I started playing, like I actually picked it up, got into my account, started a new character on Sunday, and I am now level 20. So I'm about 10 levels off from the
part where they make you start paying for it?
The part where they make me start paying for it, and where I actually get past the base class system and can start doing the job classes. So like right now I'm a gladiator. So it's just like the standard melee tank, sword and shield kind of guy. And then in 10 levels, I'll be able to start picking up Paladin.
Which is Paladin kind of what you're going for?
Yeah. Paladin is what I wanted.
Sounds what Crispy's going to want to go for.
It's what I'm going to want to go for. You know,
sounds very Alliance.
Well, actually, there are 3 factions in Final Fantasy XIV. And it's not really like a war between them. They're all kind of like cooperating. I started in the city Ul'dah, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. If I'm a member of an alliance because of where I start, or if it's something that comes later. I don't know. But what really excites me about this game is that job class system. Because I was really going back and forth. I was like, I don't know. Do I want to be a paladin, or do I want to be a black mage? Or like, if I get to level 50, I can be a samurai or a gunbreaker or something like that.
Is it level 20 when you unlock
But you can be all of them. What?
Is it level 20 when you unlock the job class system?
No, it's level 30. But when you get to level 15, I think, 10 or 15, you can start doing the quest lines for the other base classes. So I can't start the black mage quest yet, but I could start thaumaturge if I wanted to, which is the base class for black mage. but yeah, it's really fun. It's a beautiful game.
It is.
It is really engaging and fun mechanically.
It is the best Final Fantasy world they've done since like.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's like it's easily the best Final Fantasy world they've done in this generation of Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, and it's like it's like we talked about before, where it's like seeing Final Fantasy go back to the actual like high fantasy roots, like swords and mages and shit like that. It's like I get the appeal of the other Final Fantasy, but it's like, man, not for me. I don't care. Like I don't. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. And once I actually subscribe in like 10 levels, then I'll be able to join the 4Player free company.
Fuck it. I'm jumping in this weekend. Cool. I'm literally at the exact same level as Krispy. I can literally jump in with Krispy now. I just got to shift servers.
Shit. Yeah, you should.
What are the chances we lose you to this, Krispy?
I mean,
50-50.
I'm not worried about us. I'm worried about your D&D suffering.
Okay, what?
That's a low blow.
My D&D suffering?
Yeah, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about your
D&D.
You
can get so absorbed into Final Fantasy XIV that your D&D life suffers.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because I do have to DM a session tomorrow, and I was supposed to prepare some stuff, but I've been playing Final Fantasy all week. So I'm gonna have to throw something together tomorrow before the session. But it's downtime stuff. It's not actual like the actual session is good.
I have faith that you'll pull it off.
It'll be fine. Crispy. It'll be great. My weekends are now all D&D and Final Fantasy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really into it. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. I played like last year. Last year I went like a whole like 2 months where basically the only thing I played was the Old Republic, Star Wars, the Old Republic, which was cool. Like, it was fine. The story mode stuff was kind of cool. It was really lonely, but it was also a really thin game. It was really like boring and repetitive for being lonely. Like, it might have been fun if I had other people there, but I don't know. Like, Final Fantasy doesn't feel that way yet. Like, it's still really fun exploring the world and like doing different kinds of quests. And the one thing I will say is that the story content right now, which I've heard from other people, but the story content right now is real wordy.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of the struggle I was having too when I started
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I started it a few months ago and I got to level 20, and that was kind of the struggle I was coming across. Is everyone tells me once you get to the part where it's like quote unquote a realm reborn, right?
Yeah.
Like the vanilla Final Fantasy XIV stuff that you still have to get through is kind of monotonous, or not monotonous. I don't know if that's the best word, but just kind of it's a little bit of a drag.
It's a
compared
bit of a
to the later game stuff.
A little bit of an info dump.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm really into it, and I'm super excited. And everyone in the community who plays Final Fantasy XIV has been, super encouraging and super
giving
helpful.
You free sample. Here, put on this.
Yeah. When I join the Grand Company, they're gonna give me a little Shiba dog. I can't wait.
That's what they get you. They tempt you with Shiba dogs.
I already got a dog, but I'm gonna get another dog. It's so good.
Going into MMOs feels so weird.
The elves
late feels so weird.
Look
though.
Cool. They don't look dumb like Divinity elves.
Fact. This is a fact. Maybe I'll jump in this weekend.
Do it.
Nick, you're not
Nick.
Jump in.
Do it, Nick.
You shut your mouth,
summoner, right?
Way. Dude, this motherfucker,
right, Nick?
Last of Us, Ghost is coming out. That's such Nick shit. He's not going to care about no fucking MMO.
Oh, Ghost is... Yeah, well, once those
Nick, it's on your fucking shirt.
I know. No,
that's Ghostwire.
This is Ghostwire.
Oh, there's Ghostwire.
Oh, I thought it was Ghostwire.
There's lots of ghost stuff coming
Never mind.
How about some Desperados 3?
Nick, come on. You got all the time in the world now. You don't leave your house anymore.
No, I do. I'm actually back to work. Like, I'm working in the office
now. My God. Nick's going to die. No one go near Nick.
Thank you. Yeah, it totally sucks.
Desperados 3? See, that's an example of a Chris Davis hype game that's actually worth it, unlike that shark thing.
Do not buy into Brad's bullshit. He's going to peddle this dichotomy of you can only play this or you can only play that. And it's not true. It's a lie.
You want another... See, MMO players are drug dealers. They get hooked and then they find more people to give their drug to. All he wants, he doesn't care about you, Nick. He just wants you to be there.
I don't care for my sake. I think he would like it. I think if he was ever going to enjoy an MMO, it would be this one.
Also, remember, I played this 2 or 3 months ago, or actually at this point, probably 4 or 5 months ago, and I played it for a solid 2 weeks, and I got to level 20. So I've done my fair share of Final Fantasy XIV before Krispy did.
Brad.
So who's really the drug dealer here?
Brad, 5,000 miles away, Jaeger just woke up and he doesn't know why, but he's suddenly angry.
Well, I mean, he
or
knows
very
I'm
excited.
right,
Very excited, potentially. Who knows? Anyways, I'm just saying, I have a lot of stuff on my plate right now, but I'm also...
Nick, you're not wired that way anyways.
Bitch, I just want to be a summoner, man. I just want to be a fucking summoner. That's all I want.
Be a summoner, Nick.
I've been trying to be a summoner in a Final Fantasy MMO since the days of Final Fantasy XI. Both games, I got to level 20 and stopped. I don't know why. I just got to push. I got to get over the hump.
And then when you're done being a summoner, you can be a ninja.
Nick, how many videos did you watch about Final Fantasy XIV?
Or you could be a samurai, or you can be a gunbreaker, or a dark knight, or a paladin, or
like Batman.
or a white man. Yeah, like Batman.
It's all just hitting numbers on the keyboard, though, Nick.
Hey, Nolan.
Come on, Last of Us has emotion.
Nolan, do we have any questions for our patrons?
That was my next question, actually, Chris Davis.
Please.
Thank you, Nolan. I echo Chris Davis's request.
Sure.
You could be a monk.
Thank God.
Please, God.
All right. I don't think it's been brought up this week, but like Nick had mentioned last week, if anyone listened to the show last week, we've changed up how we're taking questions from patrons. We no longer are posting a questions thread every week. Instead, we have it pinned to the top of the patreon.com/4Player, a link to a Google forum. You can fill out that form, and we'll get to your question at some point in the future.
Correct.
I'm going to read some of the submissions to that form now.
I've also been in the habit so far. I'm going to keep going with this. On the day of or the day before the podcast recording, I go in there and I edit the post and say we're now accepting questions for tonight's show. And I think it should notify everybody when I make that change. So when you see that email come through, it's a reminder. Get in there and get your questions in. Nolan, take it away.
Cool. All right. First question this week from Christian from North Carolina.
Ooh.
Who is the strongest fictional character everyone currently on the podcast could beat in an unarmed combat?
Strongest fictional character?
Mm-hmm. Who is the strongest fictional character all of the 4Player podcast staff could beat up in unarmed combat?
Oh, Mr. Glass.
Ah, that's fucked up. I was gonna go with oh god, I can't remember his name. The joke would have worked a lot better if I remembered his fucking name.
Yeah, it would have.
The kid from Dragon Age that we all loved.
Kid from Dragon Age.
The enchantment.
Sandal?
Sandal. Thank you. Sandal's my answer.
Why would you beat up? Why would you beat?
I don't know, because most fictional characters.
Because he can, Nolan.
Yeah, the question was not who we would; it was who.
Nick said he wants to beat up a child.
Wait, you think you can beat up Sandal? I guess. Did you finish Dragon Age Origins?
I did.
You know, he's the final boss. You enter a room and it's like filled with dozens and dozens of dead orcs.
Right.
And Sandal's just standing in the middle of it. And you go up and talk to him and you're like, what the hell happened in here? And he says, enchantment.
Okay, you're right. I realize now I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. Disregard that. But remember, the question was who can we?
Mistake.
Not who would we. And most fictional characters in video games, movies, whatever, they're usually like pretty unreasonably strong. I am not, so Mr. Glass seems like a good answer.
I'll go with Don Flamenco. I'll do him.
Probably some little
You'll
kid,
do him.
right?
That's not the question, Chris Davis.
Don Flamenco. What is that from?
From Punch Out.
Punch Out.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Glass Joe.
Wow, Kung Pao in chat says Duck from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, some
Oh.
kid. Little kids are easy to beat up, I bet.
Wow, Brad.
I mean, right?
I
Just
mean,
physics and stuff.
Clearly, Nick has not played Fallout 2.
Fallout
You can
2.
beat the shit out of little kids.
Yeah, you're right. I have not.
I'm trying to think of the most recent games I've played.
I'm playing Okami. What about Isun from Okami? A little tiny.
You can't beat up as soon, dude.
Who can I? Brad, tell me right now. Who can I beat up? You tell me everyone I pick.
Well,
I can't beat up.
At first, I was thinking he's way too small, but then you're Nick, so
Nick could beat up Marlene.
You didn't see that coming, Nick?
Marlene. Oh no! What the fuck is wrong with you, Nolan?
I could beat the shit out of Marlene.
Why are we talking about beating children?
Well, you're not going to beat up Barrett.
Wait, no. Jesus, not beating them up. That's very different.
Oh my god, this is.
Please define that.
No. Please don't. We are teetering on the edge of a not so pleasant topic. Next question. That's what I say.
I think I could take on Toad.
From Chrono Trigger?
Question.
No, from Mario.
Oh,
Toad? Did you just?
Oh, he's called Frog in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is because I'm an uncultured swine who hasn't played Chrono Trigger.
But you did. You played on the DS and you said this isn't for me.
But Brad, I was a different person back then. I think I could do it this time.
This week.
That's true.
Thorax from LA. If you can bankrupt any person, company, organization, country, who will it be? Jeff Bezos.
Carlos.
I'd bankrupt Carlos.
$5 away from him.
I mean, I feel like this is going to be very political in terms of our answers.
Activision.
Because
just bankrupt anybody?
Yeah.
But like in a meaningful way, not like in a...
Yeah, I mean, the assumption has to be that whatever you do sticks and actually has an impact. Because if that was the case, my answer would undoubtedly be he who shall not be named. I don't.
He's been there before. I don't think.
I'm sure that's multiple times over.
Yeah.
No, but like we're talking, we just said it. Whatever we did had to stick.
No, I gotcha.
If I could,
we beat him up.
I could effectively. Oh, there we go.
That was the 4PP staff could beat up. Let's beat him up.
We are talking about Donald Trump, right?
Yes, Nick.
Okay.
I was
were you the only one who didn't know who we were talking about?
No, I was just making sure the people at home know who we're talking about.
What was your backup thing there as to who we would be beating up? Who did you think it could also be?
No, I mean, I was just making sure it was clear for the people listening at home.
I still choose Carlos.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, but
fuck the president or fuck Carlos?
Yes.
But like,
first of all, let's not call him that, shall we? Sorry. Let's.
Yeah, I picked Jeff Bezos.
Next question.
All right.
Next question.
Next question from Don Dolan from Mississippi. For your person. Hold on, let me read this real quick. Okay, got it. For you personally, what's the best incentive a game can give you for progressing in a certain section of it, like Yakuza side missions or completing it overall GTA rewards? So what's something a game can give you that would make you want to progress?
For me, it's all. I mean, I think it's really going to depend on the kind of game you're playing, but like my brain immediately jumps to there's like two different kinds of games I'm thinking of that have like really different ways of rewarding you for exploration. First one I'm thinking about is Hollow Knight, which obviously can be expanded to a lot of different Metroidvanias, but like giving you meaningful shit hidden in an environment that enhances your character, enhances the way you interact with the rest of the game, obviously. And then there's something like Red Dead Redemption 2, which I explore every inch of that world because it hides so many like really cool like story tidbits, like character bits, and just like cool events that you can see unfold that look and sound amazing. And that's like the whole reason I spend so much time exploring that world.
Does he want like specifics?
I think he's leaning towards specifics.
I like good movement abilities or even movement speed, like something that helps me get around a space quicker. So all of a sudden, the bigger feels smaller.
Superland is a good example of that, I think.
Well, right? Superman starts with the upgrade.
Superland.
Oh, Superland. It's different. Superland,
For me, it is definitely like meaningful and interesting character customization. Like, I have played bad games for way too long for the promise of like unlocking cool looking costumes.
Oh,
yeah.
You mean like visual stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, mostly.
I don't know if we're answering the question in the way it was asked.
What he asked.
Let me rephrase.
Progress through an area.
What's the best incentive a game can give you for progressing? So, like, I guess it's like what is it?
That is my incentive. I want more options to change how my character looks.
Gotcha. Okay.
And my incentive a lot of the time is, and this is the reason why I play so many open world games and I love open world games, is because I like finding all kinds of cool events and story moments hidden in a world. Even just like allusions to things that you may not see playing out in front of you, but allusions to like things that kind of build up the bigger lore. Like, Assassin's Creed is a good example. I think we were talking about Origins. Like, there's so many like things you can find in that world that kind of flesh out the bigger picture.
For me, I would say visual character growth. Like, as you progress and you gain new abilities, not only do you
your shark.
Yeah, like exactly like Maneater. That was an example. Your character grows bigger, you gain more abilities. You can visually see on screen that you are a bigger, more important character than you were previously. Fable is another good example of that. Things like that. The world's experience and what you've done is directly shown on your character.
I concur.
Sure. Cool. All right, moving on. Next question from Zach, also known as Fuzzy Turds. Turd. Sorry, there's no S.
I was like, when did it become plural?
Well, it's because it's XX, Fuzzy Turd XX, and for some reason, I guess I turned the X into an S. Anyway.
I thought he'd had another turd.
Do you have a grooming product that you absolutely stand by? I recently got a nice shaving kit with a badger hair brush, and it's made shaving a lot nicer of an experience.
Ooh.
Product.
I don't think I'm like super attached to any particular. I mean, I have like shaving creams and like or beard what do you call it?
Oils.
Beard oils.
Like I have preferred brands, but like as far as actual products or
grooming, you say?
Brad doesn't groom.
I don't do much of that.
Conditioner.
Yeah, I don't.
Let's talk about conditioner again, shall we?
Well, I like the only hair stuff that I like is there's Old Spice does a pomade that's called Spiffy, I think.
Spiffy.
Which is like the only thing that I've used in my hair on a daily basis that I actually really like, and always try to find. And I recently just got like a cheap little kit with like beard combs and scissors and stuff to try to like trim this ungodly mess, and I feel like it's helping. It's not perfect, but it's helping.
I was gonna say,
and it is one of those things where like I was using a tiny little like scissor to like trim my beard, and I was like, oh man, why didn't I do this before? Kind of thing.
I've never tried trimming my beard with scissors.
Sometimes my mustache gets too long, and when I'm eating something,
oh yeah,
it pulls my mustache and it hurts. So I got little scissors to keep it from getting too long. That's it.
There we go.
So I'll echo to an extent Fuzzy Turd's response, and that several years ago, I did get into shaving a little more. I do have a double-edged safety razor, and I did enjoy kind of the ritual of using, like, I use a Proraso, I think is the name of the brand. It's like an Italian brand, and it's not like a shaving cream. It's like a soap, and you use, like, I think I have a Badger hairbrush as well to kind of get some of that soap and turn it into a lather, and that's what you lather up with. And I do feel like I did enjoy that experience a little bit more, because it's not just squirt something out of a can. It's the act of lathering it and putting it on your face and like using the brush to kind of like get the bristles kind of standing up and stuff like that. And I did like that. But yeah, I don't really think I have too much. Like I don't know.
Nothing that you're super attached to, I guess.
No.
All right. Next question then.
Let's do one more question tonight. So final question of the evening. We only have two more left. Let's do both. From this one from Zero Skies. What's a scam you did or almost fell for? It can be as simple as some kid try to trick you into buying their printed out Pokemon cards, as it happened to me as a kid. Well, that sucks.
That does suck.
Kind of fell for.
And I'm sure I've come close to falling for something, or fallen for something, but nothing is coming to mind.
Stolen people's Diablo 2 accounts for funsies.
We're not asking how you scam people.
Yeah.
Or like doing the Act 2 glitch where you can crash the game by clicking on like that one like torch or whatever, and like do a trade, get them to drop their shit on the ground and then crash the game so they lose their shit.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
but only to people who've already tried to scam you. It was a nasty community back in the day.
Wait, sorry, which game was this?
Diablo 2.
Should have known.
It was a nasty community.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't really have an answer for this.
You've never been scammed?
No, I'm sure I have. I'm just trying to. I can't. If I was, it was a long time ago, and I don't remember the specifics of it.
Is Christianity a valid?
Damn.
Jesus.
Damn.
Exactly, Brad.
Came close.
All right, let's move on to the final question tonight.
Yeah.
Osama bin Affleck asks, would you rather have teeth for hair or hair for teeth?
Teeth for hair, but terrible. Oh God.
Wait, teeth? So your head is covered in teeth?
Yeah.
So if you did this, if you run your fingers across the top of your head, it makes that like clickety clack.
Can your head get cavities?
Oh, I feel like it would have to.
I hate this question.
With the teeth on your head.
But stuff could probably still get in there. I mean,
I would do hair for teeth, then just trim the hairs and get dentures.
But then how do you eat, Brad?
You're gonna cough up hairballs like 5 or 6
hair growing out from under your dentures.
Trim the teeth off your head, Brad.
You can eat what are they called? What are the little tiny shrimp that whales eat? Krill. You can eat krill for the rest of your life.
Or like ice cream. What the fuck are you talking about?
Because
you're talking about
hair for teeth is like baleen.
Thank you, Crispy, for getting it. Thank you.
Yeah. What would it be like to eat like?
I feel like Brad's over here thinking whales have like teeth,
like a popsicle,
I mean, there are some whales that do.
Chris, how did I know you were to say that too, Chris Davis? I know that. He said there are some whales that do have normal teeth. I know that. I'm sorry.
I forgot about whales.
I didn't read the room.
Someone didn't pass marine biology.
That's neither here nor there, Crispy.
So my next question is,
oh no.
Some people have different kinds of hair. Like Brad's hair is very curly versus some people like Bernadette's hair is very straight. Would there be people with like teeth that are like long? Like does your teeth hair grow like hair?
Yeah.
I'm picturing like people walking around with hair like hanging out the front of their lips.
But you could still use the expression
It's called a mustache, Nick.
getting long in the tooth, you know?
That's true. Oh, just if you have teeth for hair, are teeth coming out of your face?
Oh,
Maybe.
No,
Could you imagine
we're
just
done.
like all
We're
of
done.
these
guys,
teeth?
think
Like,
about me.
Look at your
This
arm.
is why I'm choosing hair teeth.
Think about me. Would I have
Not
teeth
teeth
from
hair.
head to toe?
Yeah.
I
Just
would
have a bunch of
choose.
teeth around your junk all the time.
That'd be like armor.
That's true. Would they like when you shake your head? Would they like clackle because like the teeth are knocking together, like click 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 click?
They're not loose. That's crazy.
Oh God! Do you lose the
Why
teeth?
not?
Do you lose the teeth? 'Cause think about that. Think about how horrible that was.
There's
There's just,
really gross.
like, you
Like
know,
when
right
you
now
order
you
some
find
food and
hair
there's like
all
a
over your-
hair in your food.
Yeah.
It'll just be a tooth.
Osama bin Affleck, this question was a fucking terrorist attack. How dare you?
This is awful.
Is your bathroom drain like in your shower filled with teeth?
Oh
Oh,
no!
I can't.
The corners of your room just have like piles of teeth.
I'm
in the-
leaving this podcast.
What about your pubes, man? Do your pubes become teeth too?
All right, I think we've all decided hair for teeth is the way to go. That's the only option.
Guys, the hair on the back of my neck or the teeth are
The teeth.
starting to stand up. It's really freaking me out.
All right. That's all the questions we have this week. We hate you, Osama bin Affleck. Thanks everyone for asking questions. Don't forget, there is a long-lasting Google form. Any point in time, you just go in there and ask a question, and we'll get to it at some point on one of the next podcasts.
If a gem of a question like Osama bin Affleck's pops into your head, don't waste any time. It's also pinned at the top of the supporters channel in Discord. So if you're a Twitch subscriber, you can go in there, look at the pinned links. You'll find the link there. You can leave your question whenever you want. I'll of course send the reminder out before the show each week, but you don't have to wait for that.
You're a terrible
That is a
person.
horrifying question. I am very disturbed. Let's wrap up the show. Wait, I almost forgot. Supporter Spotlight. I
Thank
have
you.
one this week. I caught myself. Our Supporter Spotlight this week is Snazzy Cat. And Snazzy Cat is from Wolverhampton in the UK. Wolverhampton.
Find out where that is.
Wolverhampton. Okay.
Chris Thacker.
Snazzy Cat says, again, I'm only going to read a few of the responses. We have a forum set up for people who are supporting us at this tier to go answer some questions about themselves, let us know a little bit more about their taste in games and that kind of thing. What is one interesting fact about yourself that you would like the community to know? He says, I once somehow managed to be in the overall top 10 global leaderboards for both Resident Evil 5 Versus Mode and Halo Wars 2v2. Of all the games to be competitively relevant at, and they had to be this obscure. I'm wondering how soon after release he ended up. Like, did he end up on those leaderboards like years after they were out? I don't know, but either way, interesting accomplishment. And his top 5 games of all time. His okay, he listed them 1 to 5. I gotta go backwards. He's pulling Brad's left and right here. So number 5 is the Tekken series.
Okay.
He says Tekken has been the ever-present beef settler between friends and family throughout my life. From playing against my cousins when I was like 5 years old to being at a house party where someone fires up Tekken 6 and you throw down against the guy who says that his Bob is unbeatable. Shout out to Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection for introducing my 2 mains, Lily and Dragunov. Brad, do you have opinions on this? You made a face.
Well, there's a certain type of player that picks Lily, and I now know a lot about this guy.
You now know a lot about Snazzy Cat based on his mains.
Mm-hmm.
His number 4 is Halo 3.
Combat Evolved.
You got a 3. We got a Combat Evolved. It's actually Krispy says 2. It's Halo 3. I don't know who said 3. He says high school.
The
Xbox
brute shotguns, man. The dual brute shotguns. I hate Halo, but I love the dual brute shotguns in Halo 3. Or at least Krispy says I hate Halo.
he doesn't.
And Nick
really
says,
hate
"I hate
Halo.
Assassin's Creed."
How dare you? Don't start with me.
He says it as he recedes into the darkness.
Regarding Halo 3, he says, high school, Xbox Live, 15 years old with all the free time in the world. Of course we lived on Halo 3. Never again will I know enough people playing one game to be able to organize 8v8 games on a consistent basis. Yeah, those were the days. Bloodborne was number 3.
The DLC.
Yeah. No, there wasn't really a choice to be made there. Bloodborne is his number 3. He says, From Software are undoubtedly the best developer of the last decade in my eyes, and Bloodborne captures exactly what they are capable of. Thrilling encounters, a haunting shift from gothic horror to Lovecraftian nightmare, and Miyazaki's subtle storytelling had me hooked from start to finish multiple times. Is Bloodborne kind of considered widely to be like the fan favorite From Software game these days? I feel like I'm seeing so many people are talking about Bloodborne on Twitter these days, and more often than I see Dark Souls.
You either hear, I
hear think Dark Souls 2
1 or Bloodborne.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. I wonder how history will treat Sekiro. Only time will tell. You don't think?
Honestly, out of all of them, I think it's going to be one of the lower rated ones. I'm not saying
people always remember it fondly, but it won't have the same sort of memories because so many of the memories are painful ones.
Well, painful, but I was also going to say multiplayer is such a huge aspect of the Souls games.
That and it's not as
whereas Sekiro doesn't have that. Yeah,
that's true.
But I mean,
unless
for me,
finish Sekiro, it's so hard.
I think Sekiro next to Bloodborne is probably my favorite From Software experience. So,
I mean, I don't think there's obviously not a
That's
wrong
because you
answer.
have no soul.
Or that. No, his number 2 is Resident Evil
4.
2.
4.
It's
4. Make.
He says, this is the best game I've played gameplay-wise, an absolute roller coaster of tight, intense combat. It plays in such a methodical way that so many games fail to capture. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Resident Evil 4 is undoubtedly an incredible game. Incredible action game, for sure. For sure.
Motherfucker.
For sure.
Go fuck yourself.
And his number 1 game of all time is Metal Gear Solid
3.
1.
Yeah, 3.
3,
right?
yeah, probably.
It's 3. But he also says in parentheses, and 2 and 1.
You can't do that.
That's a brag. He says, I cheated, but I didn't want my top 5 dominated by Metal Gear. Each of these games really pushed the narrative envelope for video games while being absolute joys to play. I could talk for days about Metal Gear, but it's all the little details in both gameplay and narrative that make these games so important to me.
I agree.
I think you're right, though, in saying Metal Gear Solid 3 is kind of your default. If you had to pick one, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably the best.
Brad, I would argue with you on that till the day I die. I love the original OG Metal Gear Solid. It is a fantastic game, but I think 3 there was plenty of innovation in 3 that I think
made there was a time where literally both games were on my top 10 list.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I think 3 had such memorable boss fights and environments, and it was one of the first games I ever saw where it had a boss fight over multiple fucking maps that you could wait 2 weeks in real time and he would fucking die. And I feel like the first game is perfectly paced. The story's the most manageable. I feel like it's so replayable. I just have more fondness for the first one. Dude, the fucking boss fight with Fury just scared the fuck out of me. You're in those dark hallways and he's flying through with a jetpack flamethrower. Oh my god.
It's also, on a technical standpoint, probably the most interesting game in the series. I mean, they had a complete reissue of the game with a brand new camera system and a multiplayer component. That had never been done in the series, and it was really interesting.
What the fuck?
We're talking about Metal Gear Solid 3, bitch. All right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You asked what we were talking about here. I just answered your question. And lastly, I'm going to read his underrated game that he wishes more people would play and why. He says, Star Ocean, The Last Hope. I bought this game on a whim one summer and really didn't expect anything from it. I had dabbled with Star Ocean in the past, but never got into any of them. I actually ended up really enjoying the systems in this game. I might be looking through rose-tinted glasses, but I recall having a lot of fun with the combat here, and I didn't mind the predictable and tropey-like Story. Maybe try it if you're bored and have 60 hours or so to kill.
Dude, that's a controversial pick. That's the 4th game in the series. It is not loved by many. Combat's supposed to be pretty fun.
I wonder if you played any of the other games. All right, did he say he didn't play it? Yeah. So he said he dabbled in the series but never played it. Got into any.
Honestly, that whole series is kind of a shit show, except for the second game.
I would love Blah Blee to comment on this post for this podcast and let us know what he thought of Star Ocean: The Last Hope, assuming he has played it for his current play every RPG under the sun marathon.
I don't think you got to it yet.
Was The Last Hope on PS2? Am I crazy, or what was it?
I think that was a PS2 game.
No.
Okay.
It wasn't?
360 and later PS3.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting him confused. Anyways, thank you very much, Snazzy Cat, for submitting. We really appreciate it. If you're a supporter on Patreon at the $5 tier or higher, or a Twitch subscriber, and you want to submit your responses for the Supporter Spotlight, there's a pinned message in the Supporter Spotlight channel in Discord. Click that link. You can fill out the form, and we'll read your responses on a future show. Now it's time to wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. Brad, start us off.
Yeah. I will start you off,
Hype,
Nick.
sweat, thank you, and fuck you. Or any combination thereof.
My first fuck you goes to Square Enix, Squaresoft, and Enix, and the decision to make Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, which was a huge failure, which is the whole reason that Square had to merge with Enix. And we found out today that the president of Monolith Soft was basically the Xenogears team from back in the day. They sort of formed a separate company, and they made the Xenosaga series, and now they make the Xenoblade games. They're owned by Nintendo. But yeah, those are the Xenogears guys. They basically said Xenogears 2 didn't happen because of Spirits Within.
Wow.
Because of that fucking... I mean, I'm sure a lot of stuff ended up not happening because of Spirits Within. Motherfuckers. God damn it. My second fuck you, keeping it Square Enix related, goes to Square Enix for I met Rufus in Final Fantasy VII Remake finally, and what the fuck, dude? What did they do to his outfit?
Spoiler cast for next week.
Oh my god, he looked so cool in the original. He just had like this cool fancy white suit, and here it's just
Kingdom Hearts and shit.
Just belts and cloth flying everywhere. I
So
don't even
many
know what
buckles.
the fuck I was looking at.
So many buckles.
It was so bad. He was so cool.
I knew the moment I saw that too. I was like, ooh,
Like,
Brad's
it
gonna
makes
have a
me
field
sad
day.
because I know I'm going to see more Rufus in the future, and he's probably still going to be wearing this. My hype is for the rumored Sony PlayStation 5 event next week. I'm ready to finally see
my hype, Brad.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Ready to finally see the top popped on the PlayStation 5. And what I'm looking for, and I'm gonna give my last, is it gonna be a fuck you to Sony? It's going to be a fuck you to Sony if... This is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for next-gen graphics and faster speeds and all this bullshit. That's not what I want. I want the PlayStation 5 to have buttons and not capacitive touch buttons, because my PS4 is always like trying to spit out a disc even when there's not even a disc in there. I'm playing digital games and it's going beep, 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 trying to spit out a fucking disc. Oh, my God.
That's the worst.
A controller battery that lasts more than 6 fucking hours.
Jesus Christ.
I want ports on the back of my PlayStation that I can actually see and plug in easily. And I don't have to pick up
you just want everything, don't you?
That's the thing. I want quality of life, good hardware. You know, the games I'm sure are going to be fine, but I want to know those kinds of details and ultimately full PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility. I could put my PS4 disc in a PS5 because I want to throw my fucking loud ass jet engine PS4 in the trash. I want to actually destroy it on a video. I want to destroy it on a video. I hate it so fucking
We can make that happen.
I think we should make
but
that
how
we should
so
film
you-
an Office Space
I need
skit.
these details.
Let's just do it before 5 even comes out,
No.
just on faith.
I mean, you could, but how else are you going to play PT?
You got to think it won't sound like a jet engine, right? They have to care about something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
You hope.
I mean, Microsoft found a way to make a console that isn't loud as fuck.
Yeah, well, too bad it's an Xbox.
That's the caveat. All right, Nolan.
All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is also for the PS5 event potentially happening next week, as rumored by Jason Schreier, who now writes for Bloomberg. I agree, Brad. Some technical updates to the system itself will be nice. Coming as someone, I don't stream as often as I used to, but I will often record footage for like the show or something. And when I record footage, I do it on the capture card. But the problem with that is I have to unplug my HDMI cable, because when I play just like sitting in my chair, I play in 4K, but I can't always have it plugged into my capture card because then it downgrades it to 1080p, and I also can't do the HDR. So I often have to pull out my PS4 to switch out the HDMI cable, and so often the power cable is not like tight enough in there, and it'll just pop out. And so whenever I do it, I have to like reach back and like slide my hand in my entertainment system and try and like hold the power cable in place. Because inevitably, I when I'm in the middle of a game, I don't like turn off my PS4. I just put it in rest mode.
I want the PS5 to be a reverse rhombus. I want the back to be like angled the other direction, so it's super easy to see the ports.
That'd be nice.
Or maybe just a rectangle.
Yeah, just a box.
Reverse rhombus.
And then I agree with you on the controller. The past two consoles from Nintendo have had controllers with ridiculously long batteries. The Wii U, underrated 80 fucking hour battery life on the Wii U Pro controller, and the Switch Pro controllers at least like 50 to 60 hours. Like, it is ridiculous the amount of hours they can cram into that. The PS5 controller better be able to last a minimum like 20 hours. Like, come on, like it can't be that hard. My second hype, I actually bought some RAM for my computer. I've been noticing more and more so lately, just things have been starting to take up more memory than they used to. And I've been often like kind of getting to the almost max of where my RAM is. And the exact RAM I have on my computer was on sale for $50, which is not horrible. RAM had been expensive the past few years, and so it's nice to have a little more RAM. My fuck you is going to go to Osama bin Affleck for asking us the hair teeth question, and then my second fuck you is going to go to Civ 6, because fuck that game.
Saw that coming too.
Until I like it.
I thought you were going to say Osama bin Laden. I was going to be like, it's okay, Nolan, we got him. He's dead.
That is true. We did get him.
Just let it go, Nolan.
Yeah. Which also brought us one of the best memes. Ladies and gentlemen,
the dork.
We got him.
We got him.
All right, anyway.
Cool. Thank you, Nolan. Krispy?
I'm all full of hype and gratitude this week. So I've got 3 hypes and a thank you. My first hype is to get my fucking paladin job in Final Fantasy XIV. Can't wait. Loving that game. Gonna play a bunch more of it. Can't wait. Gonna talk about it every week. So get ready. My second hype is for Last of Us Part 2. That fucking the gameplay trailer, the gameplay demo that they released the other day. Like, you know,
Did you watch
the
State of Play?
Yeah,
I haven't watched it.
I
refuse. I'm officially on media blackout.
Yeah. I kind of like put it away, and I'm like, I'm not gonna think about Last of Us till it comes out, right? But I watched it, and then it got me excited all over again. I was like, oh my god, yes! I can't wait to brutally stab people in the throat while they're just playing PS Vita.
Fuck you. Yeah, what was that scene?
That was really
There's
good.
a scene where, you know, she brutally murders someone, because of course they do, and it was a young lady playing a Vita.
Yeah.
Let's not go into
I think
too
that's
many
symbolic.
details.
I think that has to be
but
symbolic.
the point is,
yeah, she was.
That was
Vita
the
was
moment
on
the
the
Vita
ground
was officially
listening to
canceled.
music.
Vita was on the ground playing Hotline Miami music.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem like that would be something that's in the game.
it's so good. It was so good. And my third hype is for Monster Train. which, as I've already mentioned, I did purchase. I just haven't started playing it yet. But after tonight's discussion, I really, really feel like I have to. And my thank you for the week goes to Pokop and Kenton for kind of being our Sherpas through Deep Rock Galactic and showing us what's what and teaching us the ways of rock and stone.
Who got Gary Sinise? Is that
Kenton got Gary Sinise?
Kenton,
I mean, Gary Sinise. The spirit of the Gary Sinise is you closing the door right before they make it in, and then screaming Gary Sinise as you take it.
But we left.
He just got down, and everyone was like, "I'm not going to get him."
Yeah.
For the game, Gary Sinise.
That's fantastic. All right, thank you, Krispy. Chris Davis, your turn.
Okay, I'm full of all hypes this week. My first hype goes to Desperados 3. GOG, they released a demo that you can play right now of the game. It's the first level from the game. I encourage everyone here to play it, especially if you're a Shadow Tactics fan. It's really fucking something.
Or if you're a cowboy fan.
If you're a cowboy fan, if you're a fan of westerns and shit like that.
I think you should try it, especially Nick.
I intend to.
It's really fucking cool. My second hype, echoing what Brad and Nolan said, the PS5 supposed reveal event where we finally learned some fucking information about this fucking console. It's about fucking time. I know it is technically E3 time if this were a normal situation, but it's not.
Not a pandemic, yes.
Not a pandemic.
What they're going to do, they're going to show a bunch of cinematic trailers to indie developed games that are.
God, I hope not. We need to see exactly what this shit can do if it's going to be.
I really hope that's.
6 months.
You know what? Never mind.
So
I'm not going to jinx it.
My third hype is a hype I actually forgot to mention last week. Valve updated the Source 2 tools and released a beta of the SDK with new updates to Hammer and everything. And there's already some fucking cool shit coming from it. They actually released an update for Half-Life Alyx to where bottles now have fluidic physics in there. Like if you look at it, it's kind of fucking cool to see a bottle in your hand and like liquids just kind of moving like they would in real life.
Only you can smash that bottle over the head of an enemy.
And you can even like there's even physics with that to where like some liquids will get carbonated and you'll see like bubbles start popping up and fizzing on the surface.
I saw way too many headlines today popping up on my feed about the physics, the liquid physics in Half-Life Alyx now.
That is
I saw it
so
like 20
fucking
times
cool.
today.
It's such a small thing, but like, dude, I can't wait to see what people start doing with this fucking editing system. And I guess my last hype this week goes to a news topic we didn't really talk about. Microsoft came out with some news about their new system, talking specifically about backwards compatibility. And what they're talking about is some really fucking cool shit. They're doing system built-in HDR support for all their backwards compatible games, to where there is no impact on the game, and even games that were made way before HDR was even a concept, it will make those games function in HDR.
I'm wondering for those games that have been out for a lot longer, how much of an effect HDR will actually have. I mean,
for the game.
I don't know, but I'm curious. I'm definitely curious to find out.
I think really cool things like Splinter Cell titles where there's a big focus on shadows and darkness and things like that. I think that can be really fucking cool.
I mean, it's probably going to help with contrast a lot. Like a lot of the older games where everything was a little bit flatter in terms of the color palette, and there wasn't a ton of contrast without having to like.
The original Splinter Cell, you just won't be able to see anything.
It's pitch black.
Yeah, but they're also talking about things like there's gonna be 500 Xbox 360 titles that'll be backwards compatible at launch. They're also talking about how all games will should scale up to 4K, and there will be built-in anisotropic filtering. And they're also saying that with some titles, you'll be able to increase the frame rate or even double it. Some going from 30 to 60, and some going from 60 to 120.
That sounds cool. I'll believe it when I see
cool.
it.
Yeah, no, I
really hope it works as well as they seem to think it does.
Yeah. So
sure.
But does it sound like a jet engine? That's what matters.
You can double your frame rate, but then it sounds like a jet engine, like a fucking plane taking off. All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype this week or over the last week, I watched a few movies, 3 or 4 movies over the past week, 3 of which were Korean films, specifically Korean horror films, and it kind of got me like
Korean, by the way.
Jonesing to like fall down the rabbit hole of Korean horror films because damn, man, these movies are good. I watched The Wailing. If you haven't seen that movie, holy shit, that had me like on the edge of my seat for the entire fucking thing, and it goes places. I finally watched Train to Busan, which was pretty damn good. And the next one I'm going to watch is I Saw the Devil, which I've heard good things about. But man, it's like, I'm ready to go down that. I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole.
You should watch The Handmaid's Tale.
I think that's on my list, but I'll double check.
Handmaiden, which is quite good. The Handmaid's Tale is pretty good too, I guess. That's the one.
Oh, The Handmaid, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I know I have a Korean film on my watch list, and I'm pretty sure it has the word handmaiden in the title.
I watched a Korean movie as well.
The Handmaid.
I watched Burning last weekend.
I saw that. I added that to my list when you recommended it. My sweat goes to I played like 5 hours of Red Dead Redemption 2 on Saturday, and I've been thinking about Red Dead Redemption 2 ever since. So I mean, I know this playthrough of Red Dead I've been doing on PC has just been one of those things I'm going to be kind of like going in and out of for the foreseeable future. But I'm, a little worried it's going to slowly take over my life again. But I fucking love that game. My fuck you of the week, though, goes to the Rockstar Social Club. I filled my photo mode album completely. I didn't realize there was a space limit. You can only store 200 photos at once. I've been exporting them as I go, so I'm saving them in my computer so I don't lose any of them, because the photo mode is incredible. What I'm saying fuck you to them about is there's no way to batch delete photos in the social club. I have 200 photos that I have to go through one by one and hit delete, and it takes about 5 or 6 seconds per photo once I select delete for it to actually delete. So it's going to take fucking forever to clear out that fucking album. So come on, fix your shit. That's ridiculous.
Someone brought up in chat, but A Tale of Two Sisters is from the same director of I Saw the Devil, and that is a very, very creepy horror movie. So add that to your list.
A Tale of Two Sisters?
A Tale of Two Sisters. Also, you've seen Old Boy?
I've seen the American remake.
No!
I know.
A Spike Lee joint.
I know. And my sweat. And my second sweat this week goes to. We talked about the Silent Hill rumors last week. There's a lot of talk bubbling up about Silent Hill coming back. There's talk about Resident Evil 8 getting its reveal soon, quote unquote. I don't want to let myself be disappointed. I really don't. But I'm starting to get hyped about these things. And if Sony's gonna do a big blowout event where they announce their hardware and start announcing games to kind of like come out the gate real strong, I want one of those games to be in that reveal. If it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be kind of bummed.
Well, there is new Silent Hill stuff out right now.
Don't bring up that Dead by Daylight shit. Everybody was pinging me in Discord about Dead by Daylight because they added Pyramid Head and Heather from Silent Hill 3. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I love you guys. I love the community. I love you guys. I really do. I don't give a shit about Dead by Daylight. If Silent Hill shows them, it does nothing for me at all. I'm sorry.
Do you know anything about Dead by Daylight?
Yes, I know. But when I see people getting excited about Silent Hill characters showing up in Dead by Daylight, I just get angry because I really just want a Silent Hill game. That's what I want. I want a Silent Hill game. I don't want Book of Memories. I don't want Silent Hill characters showing up in games that aren't Silent Hill. I want Silent fucking
Look at
Hill.
This titty baby. Hey, maybe that Vita game was cool.
But I don't.
It's your series, man. You need to try all parts of it.
Warts and all.
Fuck you, Brad.
I played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. You got to do your due diligence.
I don't even own the platform that plays it anymore, so neither here nor there. Anyways, that's going to do it for our show tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Of course, want to remind everybody, discord.gg/4Player. Join us there. We'd love to have you. If you want to support us financially, you can subscribe on Twitch, or you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. We got a bunch of tiers you can take a look at there as an option. You can find all of our podcasts over at 4playernetwork.com. And you can catch us streaming weekly on 4pp.tv. And I think that's it. Tune in next week for another episode. Oh, next week specifically, we're doing our spoiler cast. So probably not a normal episode. I think we're trying to work on maybe having a backup plan for if that PS5 event does happen, so we don't have to wait 2 weeks to talk about the PS5 event. We'll probably do something smaller to talk about that. I don't know. We'll let y'all know what we're gonna do if that comes to pass. But tune in next week for a spoiler cast. We'll be doing Final Fantasy VII Remake. David will be joining us for that, and we'll do Half-Life Alyx. So we'll do a deep dive on both of those games, talk about all the stuff we couldn't talk about when we were talking about it on the regular show. So tune in for that. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will catch you guys next week. Good night.
Night.
Night. Bye.